I'm trying to 100% every game I own, starting with released in 2023 by Larian Studios, racking in basically every single Game of the Year award you can think of, Baldur's Gate 3 is considered one of the greatest RPGs of all time. This game has some of the most in-depth and intricate mechanics that I've ever seen in a game, which makes it one of, if not my favorite game of all time. Like, I'm not joking, this game lets you do basically anything you can think of. If you're wondering if you could approach a certain encounter a very specific way that probably no one else has ever thought of before, odds are, it's possible. And its achievements are, for the most part, pretty straightforward and not too difficult, excluding Foehammer, which is for completing the game in Honor Mode. Honor Mode is essentially a permadeath run where the difficulty is cranked to the max. Enemies hit harder, have more health, ability checks, which are the dice rolls you'll be prompted to do during certain situations, such as during combat and dialogue, are harder to succeed, bosses get a unique ability that's only tied to Honor Mode, and you only get one save slot, so save scumming isn't really possible. Well, you can still technically save scum by copying save files, but that's cheating and mama ain't raised a cheater. And the first achievement we're going for is going to be the one for finishing the game in Honor Mode. Now calm down, I know what you're thinking. How are you even going to attempt a permadeath mode for your first run? And my response to that is, I'm not. You see, I've already finished a playthrough on Baldur's Gate 3 on balanced or normal difficulty, so I already have a few hours under my belt. Just a few. Nothing crazy. And since I've already finished a playthrough, I already have quite a few achievements. However, I will still need to do at least 2 more playthroughs to get the 100%, and with a single playthrough lasting upwards of 100 hours or more, we've got a lot of work ahead of us. So let's just dive right in. First things first, we gotta create a character. I didn't focus too much on the character's appearance for this run because it could all just end up being a waste if we fail the run, so I didn't put much effort in. I had to get a quick little peek of what my character's packing though. Oh my god, and of course he's bigger than me. My focus was more on the build since I can't compete with what this guy has going for him. Just as a disclaimer as well, I'm following a guide for this run because I'm not trying to lose a 100-hour run because I did something stupid, so I went with a human bard. The goal with this build is to essentially be the face of the group that is very charismatic to avoid as much conflict as possible, but also strong as hell in case we manage to not talk our way out of a situation. I won't go too far into detail as to what each stat stands for and what it can mean because if I did, we'd be here all day. With our character now created, we start off in this testicle ship called a nautiloid and see this green reptile lady get what looks like a maggot straight out of a nightmare inserted into her eye by Mr. Tentacle Man called a mind flayer, only to then see Squidward's buff ass cousin turn to us like we're his next protein powder container, and then the maggot thing goes in our eye. We didn't see more reptile people riding dragons attacking the testicle ship, probably because, you know, it looks like a giant ball sack flying over the city like it's the new plane from American Airlines or something. And as a result of this, the ship starts to crash and we awaken. Dazed and confused, we stumble our way through the ship and... Look at the name of this door, bruh! This gotta be the Diddy ship. Ain't no way we're going through booty hole doors within the first 10 minutes of the game. Once we go through the Diddy door, we find a dead dude just big chilling in a chair, but quickly find ourselves speaking with something.
Yes, you've come to save us from this place. Remove us from this body, from this case. Free us.
Just palm it, smack the hell out of it to break the skull. Gross.
We are free. Our freedom is ours, friend.
After smacking the back of poor bro's head, we continue on our way only to be stopped by the reptile lady, who we find out her name is Lae'zel. She teaches us some valuable information about those little worms that just got forced into our head.
We carry mind flayer parasites. Unless we escape, unless we are cleansed, our bodies and minds will be tainted and twisted. Within days, we will be gay. Mind flayers.
Within days, we will be gay. With our newfound sense of urgency, we push forward, looking for the helm of the testicle ship, only to stumble across another survivor trapped in a pod.
You! Get me out of this damn thing! We have no time for stragglers. This ship is crashing. Do you intend to die for a stranger?
Would you shut up? Ignoring Lae'zel's advice, we began searching for a way to open the pod. I figured it had to be something to do with the console at the front of the room, so I decided to attempt to decipher what the signs above each button said. The far right said annihilate, the middle said aggression, and of course, I failed to decipher what the far left said. So I decided to take my chances with the one button I didn't know what it did because I definitely wasn't going to be pressing the button that said annihilate or aggression. And it did.
Psionic energy radiates from the prisoners. They do not react.
Absolutely nothing. After searching around a little more into the next room, I ended up finding a tablet that I could fit into a different console closer to the pod with the survivor in it. Popping this tablet into place, I could then attempt to control the console with my mind using the little worm inside my head. I was then able to make the console open the pod and release the survivor.
I thought that
Mummy.
damn thing was going to be my coffin.
Thank you.
Your
Mummy.
mind lurches into her thoughts. Her gratitude is mixed with wariness, because you have a Gith with you.
Oh damn, it's a little
Dangerous company.
racist.
Looks like there's plenty of fighting ahead. Let me come with you. We can get off this ship and watch each other's backs along the way.
Fuck yeah.
Are we going to help each other or not?
Fuck yeah, mommy.
Shadowheart. One moment.
What's that?
It's nothing. Trust me.
Enough of this chatter. We need to get to the helm. Now.
She's right. Lead on.
Why do you look at her like you can't fucking stand her? After meeting Shadowheart, my party of now 3 and 1 walking brain decided to push forward towards the Nautiloid's helm to attempt our escape.
We are nearing the helm. Once inside, do as I say.
Shut up, bitch. I don't think I fucking asked you. Upon entering the helm, we're met with a mind flayer, a demon with a sick-ass fire sword, a couple of imps, and hell hogs. The mind flayer gives us instructions on how to control the testicle ship to hopefully get us out of this situation. Then we're thrown into our first major combat encounter. Now, I will take this moment to kind of explain how combat works in this game because it can be quite a bit overwhelming if you don't know what you're looking at. This little green circle is an action and this orange triangle is a bonus action. Each character gets 1 action and 1 bonus action per turn. Everything you do in combat, apart from just moving, will most likely require either an action or a bonus action. This little yellow music note is essentially a special ability. This can vary quite a bit depending on what class you have. Think of it as special moves that are tied only to your class. These little blue squares with an eye over them are spell slots. The number of squares represents how many of those spells you can cast, and the eye indicates the level of the spell. Spells can go up to level 5, but right now I can only use level 1 spells. And this final blue square that's hollowed out is for your cantrips. Cantrips are basically weaker versions of spells and they never run out. Special abilities can either recharge from a short rest or a long rest depending on your class, and then all of the spell slots can only be restored after a long rest. More on what short rests and long rests are later. Now if we can manage to kill this guy, we'll get his sword, which will give us a huge advantage in the early sections of the game. However, killing him is extremely difficult for us in this moment since we have very little health, not very good spells, pretty poo-poo weapons, and we have basically no armor. So to buy myself some time, I end up sending our weird little brain friend with legs over to the biggest threat in the area. Hopefully he can buy us some time by being a meat shield, but also chip away at some of the dude's health to hopefully give me a fighting chance against him. Shortly after getting the walking brain into position, he died in like 2 turns. But it's okay, because either way, this little brain friend wasn't going to be sticking with us for much longer. After slaughtering my brain friend, this big buff-ass demon that's just farming easy kills decides to target Lae'zel next. I'm pretty sure at this point Lae'zel is currently my strongest party member, but she still stands no chance against this dude. However, if I make it to where he can't hit us for a few turns, we may actually have a chance, and with my bard, I actually have a spell that could help a ton. If I can manage to hit him with Tasha's hideous laughter, he'll be essentially out of the fight for 10 turns because he'll be uncontrollably laughing on the ground. However, I don't have very good odds of the attack actually landing, so my options are to either run and potentially just have him chase me to eventually one-shot me, or take my chances and try to make the spell land. Holy shit, it worked. Okay, so now I have an actual chance to get this sword to start me off with a pretty big advantage early on. He's down for 10 turns. I have 11 turns before I need to get out of this ship. In case anything goes wrong, I decided to put my bard next to the exit so that way, if worst comes to worst, then we can just dip out right away. After kicking this demon while he's down, I'm then suddenly slapped in the face with reality. There's 2 more enemies that are way stronger than anyone in my party currently on their way, and there's no shot I'm killing this guy before either of them reach me. So I decided to cut my losses while I still had the chance and decided to just leave with no cool sword in hand and no more walking brain friend. After making it to the terminal to attempt our escape, we then witnessed the Nautiloid start to crash land. As we hold on for our lives, we find ourselves staring intimately into the mind flayer's eyes. Is this when we start making out? Our intimate, potentially hot and steamy moment gets ruined by a big old chunk of meat smacking the side of our face. Sadly, it's not the mind flayer's meat, but regardless, this meat chunk causes us to fall out of the ship, and moments before we turn into a liquid from hitting the ground from so high up, we're magically saved and dropped somewhat carefully. We wake up stranded on a beach with the remains of the testicle ship scattered around us, and are now officially out of the tutorial area and at the beginning of Act 1. Doing a little bit of exploring, and by exploring, I mean walking in a straight line forward, we stumble across Shadowheart passed out on the ground. Wake her, reach for the artifact. Just wake her up. Just wake her up. Just be nice. Try to take her stuff.
You're alive. I'm alive. How is this possible?
Perhaps it was some dramatically timed divine intervention?
The divine tend to keep their interventions close to the chest, so I suppose it's not impossible. I don't recognize this place, but anything's an improvement on where we just came from. First things first,
We need supplies, shelter, and most of all, a healer. We might have escaped, but we still have these little monsters in our heads. We need each other, and we both know what's at stake. Can't think of better company.
Look at her, she already falling for me.
One thing, just before we go, I wanted to thank you again for freeing me. It would have been all too easy for you to run right past my pod, but you didn't. I'll remember that.
Now that we're basically married, she said it without saying it. I'm good at reading these kinds of things, just trust me. She wants me. Shadowheart and I begin to explore around to somewhat understand where we are when we find ourselves nearly coming into contact with more walking brains. Now I've done a ton of research on where some of the most common honor mode run enders are, and these little abominations are a super common run ender. Not necessarily because they are hard to kill, but because this early in the game, everyone in my party is just easy to kill. Again, I have 8 health, bruh. If an enemy so much as coughs in my direction, I'm probably gonna die. So I avoided this fight and jumped up this little path that I feel most people wouldn't even realize is a possible path. Once we reached the top of the cliff, I spotted a portal looking thing in the distance and decided to see what all the fuss was about.
A hand? Anyone?
Tune yourself to the sigil's magic and then bid it to quiet down.
Whatever you're doing is working wonders. Now a quick little pull should do the trick. Ah. Oh. Hello. I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies. I'm usually better at this.
No need to apologize, are you alright?
A bit shocked, but friend, it's a relief and a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Say, but I know you, don't I? In a manner of speaking, you were on the Norse Lloyd as well. This parasite? Are you aware that after a period of excruciating gestation, it will turn us into mind flayers? It's a process known as ceramorphosis, and let me assure you, it is to be avoided. We're most certainly going to need a healer, and soon too. How about we lend each other a helping hand once more and look for a healer together?
With Gale now as our third member in the party, we have also reached level 2. Just to give you a sense of scale, the max level in Baldur's Gate 3 is 12. Level 2 brings the ability for us to get some extra health and more spells. However, our builds for Shadowheart and Gale won't be staying the way they are currently for very long. Very soon we'll be getting the ability to respec our character and companions, and respecking is going to be a pretty vital component to succeeding this honor mode run. After leveling up our characters, I then explored a little more and managed to find an injured mind flayer and just quickly took it out from a distance. After making quick work of the mind flayer, I eventually stumbled upon everyone's favorite heartthrob.
Hurry! I've got one of those brain things cornered in the grass. You can kill it, can't you? Like you killed the others?
Kill it yourself. You look capable enough.
I was hoping for a kind soul. Well, not to worry. Shh. Not a word. Let's try to keep that lovely neck of yours in one piece. And you, keep your distance. No need for this to get messy.
Couldn't agree more. But if you use that knife, I will incinerate you.
And your friend with me? Hardly. I saw you on the ship, didn't I? And now you're going to tell me exactly what you and those tentacled freaks did to me.
You have it backwards. They took me prisoner just like you.
Don't lie to me.
Your mind twists. You're looking out of unfamiliar eyes, prowling, dark, busy
Damn, that's the face you
streets.
make when you
You
bust
try
and she
to hold
keeps
the memory,
sucking.
but it fades to the worm, the light, the fear.
What was that? What's going on? You're not one of them. They took you. Just the same as me. And to think, I was ready to decorate the ground with your innards. Apologies. My name's Astarion. Did you learn anything about these worms while wandering the ship?
Yes, unfortunately, they'll turn us into mind flayers.
Turn us into... Of course it'll turn me into a monster. What else did I expect? If we can find an expert, someone that can control these things, there might still be time.
Control it, we need to get rid of it.
Well, yes, of course.
Now that we have a full party of 4, I decided to do a tad bit more exploring and managed to actually stumble on Lae'zel caught in a trap. Now there's a couple of ways this encounter can go. Well, that sentence is true for literally everything in this game, but for this encounter, we definitely want to rescue Lae'zel because she'll become one crucial piece of the puzzle for this honor mode run. So my options are to either fight these two people or attempt to convince them to just leave. I want to try to avoid combat as much as possible because being in combat puts me at risk of losing the run. Whether it's an easy fight or not, I'm really trying to limit my risks on this run and play it as safe as possible. So I decided to try to convince them to just leave by making up some story that's an exclusive option to bards only. Oh god, you've caught a scout. The Gith invasion force is right behind me. Save yourselves.
Hells, this isn't worth it. I'm out of here.
Enough gawking. Get me down.
Now that those bozos are gone, we can get Lae'zel out of the trap. But first, say please.
Never.
Now that Lizard Lady is free and officially a companion of ours, it's time for us to try to get the ability to respec our characters. Back on the beach near where we first started, there's a locked door we can now attempt to lockpick. The lockpicking ability scales with dexterity, so you want to do all lockpicking with the character that has the highest dexterity, which in my case is Astarion. I had a total of 3 Thieves toolkits, meaning I had 3 total chances to get this door open. So after buffing Astarion's chances by casting Guidance and Bardic Inspiration on him, it's time to see if the dice rolls in my favor. Are you dead ass? Well, I guess now's a perfect time to explain what critical successes and critical failures are. So anytime we have an ability check, which are these dice rolls, there's a 1 in 20 chance to get either a critical success or a critical failure. In this case, I got a critical failure by rolling a 1. If you roll a 1, you instantly fail. Your buffs, as you see here, my buffs can add a range of 9 to 17. Don't get applied if you roll a 1. You instantly lose this roll. There's no saving it. However, if you get a critical success, which is rolling a 20, you instantly succeed. So since I had some of the worst luck possible on the first attempt, let's try again. Ah, oh, come on, man. Well, they say 3rd time's the charm. I failed again, didn't I? Oh my god. So, remember how I said I was following a guide for this run? Well, the guide suggested that if I don't manage to lockpick this door, I should just restart the run now. Now, I could do that and essentially just cut my losses now since we're still very early in the game, even though it's taken me about 2 to 3 hours to get here. However, I feel pretty confident in myself in managing to stay alive long enough to attempt to be able to lockpick this door again. You see, the thing that's so important with this door and us getting in now is if we manage to open this door, we can get the builds we need without having to put ourselves in a bunch of danger. But this is me we're talking about, and luck never seems to be on my side, so now we're being forced to take risks. Either way, if I restart the run now, I only lose about 2 hours, and if I died during the upcoming encounters, well, then I'll only lose another like 30 minutes to an hour, so I want to at least give myself a chance to save the run. So what I need to do is search for some more lockpicks to get that damn door open, and there's 2 immediate encounters I know I stand at least a chance in. Remember these guys? How I was saying they're pretty common run enders? Well, we're taking them on now. When we first came across them, my party only consisted of my character and Shadowheart, but now that we have a full party of 4, we might stand a chance. To give myself as much of an advantage as possible, I use stealth to get my party into position on a ledge higher than all of the intellect devourers. There's a couple reasons for this. If you attack an enemy from stealth, you'll apply an effect called surprised on each enemy. This effect takes away their turn, basically giving me 2 free turns. I purposely put myself higher than them as well because having a height advantage helps with your attacks actually hitting their targets, and also makes it harder for enemies below you to hit you. General rule of thumb is to try to always be either equal or above enemies and limit being below them at all times. Once I attacked from stealth, only the person I attacked with entered combat, since everyone else in my party was still out of sight. So, one by one, I had the rest of my party make their initial attacks until eventually everyone was in combat. Everything was going very smoothly. There was only 3 intellect devourers and I had managed to kill 2 before they ever even got a turn. But when the last one alive got a turn, I instantly realized why these things are some of the most common run enders. Ooh, holy hell, that hurts. This thing had every disadvantage I could do to it, and it still took out half of my health in 1 hit. Thankfully, I was able to finish it off before it got a second turn, and this area is now clear of enemies. I looted the area looking for thieves' toolkits, but sadly didn't come across any. That's okay though, I honestly wasn't really expecting to get any here, but it didn't hurt to check. With one of the 2 encounters out of the way, I made my way over to the next one. This was the one I was the most nervous about. I can't remember if these guys immediately attack, or if you can convince wants them to leave. I do want to fight them though. I need their items. I decided to split up my party into two. On the upper level, I had my character and Gale partnered up. The strategy here was to use Gale as my range and my character as his bodyguard. On the lower level, I had Shadowheart and Astarion paired together. I started the fight with Shadowheart attacking from stealth. Like last time, none of my other party members entered combat with her, so I have the potential to have a really strong start to this fight. I then decided to send my character into the fight next, sneaking up behind this dweeb standing on a box, acting like he's doing something. Bro's probably the manager of this group and is just standing there doing nothing while telling everyone else what to do. My goal here is to smack him across the back with my sword, then push him off the ledge to hopefully cause him to die from fall damage. But before attempting to push, I want to get everyone in the party into the fight. Next up is Gale. I made him enter the fight by using Magic Missile, which lets me shoot up to 3 times at either 3 different targets or just all on one target. And these attacks never miss. Honestly, Magic Missile is a pretty goated spell and comes in clutch a lot. And finally, it's Astarion's turn to get in on the fun. With Astarion's current build, he's really useful when it comes to stealth. He actually has both a ranged and melee attack that allows him to do extra damage if he has the advantage, which, since he's in stealth, he has the advantage. As the fight progresses, I didn't get lucky with the order of who goes first, so I didn't get the chance to attempt to push this bozo off because this lady put my ass to sleep. Son of a bitch, she got me with it. See, I had all the potential to have an incredible start to this fight. However, in a matter of one turn, I'm now at a huge disadvantage. It's okay though, we got this. We can still turn this around, hopefully. Astarion and Shadowheart now have 2 enemies coming for them. This early into the game, I want to try to limit enemies getting too close to me as much as possible. However, one of them decided they wanted to see if they could smell what I had for breakfast and decided to get all up in Shadowheart and Astarion's face. So I made Astarion do a melee attack and then push this clown back so we could retreat a bit. The more work they have to do to get to me, the better. So keeping some distance is going to be important. So when it was Shadowheart's turn, I hit Bro with a fireball, then decided to try to push him back further because when Astarion pushed him, he kind of just pushed him into a wall. And of course, she misses the push, so now there's absolutely no distance between her and the dude who doesn't believe in personal space. It's now the enemy's turn, and even though my character was catching Z's, Gale was the one catching hands. And with just 2 attacks, Gale was now down. When a character goes down, they get a total of 3 saving throws, which are dice rolls that are essentially strikes before they are dead. 3 failed saving throws, and they die. If any other character can manage to either heal or help up the downed character before they fail all 3 saving throws, then they'll get back up with a small amount of health. Gale's only chance of not dying is if my character wakes up and saves him. Astarion and Shadowheart managed to teach this bozo what personal space was, and kind of, but not really, even the playing field. I decided to move Shadowheart a bit closer to the middle of the area to try to help out Gale and my character from a distance, and that ended up being a horrible decision. See, my character is still alive, again, just asleep, but for some reason they're just refusing to even acknowledge my character's existence, and the 3 remaining enemies decide to all focus on Shadowheart. The first attack, which came from the same asshole who put my character to sleep, nearly one-shotted Shadowheart with an ice spell that also creates an ice surface around it where it hits. This guy decides to take a shortcut and jump down the stairs and lands next to Shadowheart, but his dumbass slipped and fell because he jumped right onto the ice. If Shadowheart was to try to walk out of this spot, she could potentially end up slipping and falling as well, which at this point is almost guaranteed death for her. Things really ain't looking too good, Chief. As Astarion, I finish off the idiot who jumped down the stairs and slipped, and kept Astarion out of the way. The lesson of going into the middle of the arena was quickly learned that it's a horrible idea and that I should never do it again. As Shadowheart, I quickly made her heal a little to maybe keep her alive through the next turn, and decided to just try to chip away at some of the lady at the top of this crane thing's health. I can't really make Shadowheart move in this moment because if she slips, then she can't help at all. So if she's going down, then she's at least taking a small piece of them with her. And she fucking missed. Are you kidding me? She may be a certified baddie, but my god, her aim sucks ass. After that pathetic attempt at a beneficial sacrifice, she's now down as well. But my character has finally caught up on sleep and is ready to help out in the fight. Thanks for joining us, dickwad. And perfect timing too. Gale just succeeded on his 3rd saving throw. He failed the first 2, so him succeeding this 3rd one gave me 1 chance to save him. So that's exactly what I did. Once it was my character's turn again, I needed something to help me get the upper hand in this fight. The fight could still go either way, and with the luck I've had so far, I didn't like my chances. So I decided to take my chances to make one of them fall to the ground laughing. The same thing I did to the demon dude on the testicle ship at the beginning. I only had a 42% chance of it working, and oh, thank God it worked. I need to go to the casino, bro. I'm just too good. This one moment makes up for all the other unlucky moments I've had so far, except failing to lockpick the door 3 times. If I would have gotten that, then we wouldn't be in this mess. I also had a healing spell I decided to cast onto Gale to get him back into the fight. I could have cast this spell on Shadowheart to get her back up. However, it was this idiot's turn next, and if Shadowheart was picked up, she'd just instantly get downed again, so that's why I went that route. Astarion will be picking her up on his next turn anyway, so either way, she'll be fine. After picking up Shadowheart, my next move was to get her the hell out of the way and then use the remaining people to take out the one person that could currently attack me. Thankfully, she was almost dead at this point, so we made pretty quick work of her. With her out of the way, we just had the guy who was stuck on the ground laughing. So my character, Gale, and Asterion surrounded bro like he was the blonde girl on the couch, and just before we could start slapping him with our meat sticks, he stopped laughing. The spell I hit him with can hold people on the ground for 10 turns, but that doesn't mean it will. Each turn they get a saving throw, similar to the saving throws for when a character gets downed. If they fail, the effect on them stays. If they succeed, the effect goes away. But at this point, whether he was able to fight back or not no longer mattered because we finished him off super quickly. Holy shit, that was way too close. That was so stressful. I'm surprised I made it out of that with nobody dying. After that extremely stressful encounter, I decided to take a long rest. In Baldur's Gate 3, there's short rests and long rests. Short rests restore half of everyone's health, but you only get a limited amount of short rests. Once you're out of short rest, you can't get any more until you long rest. Long rests restore everyone's health fully, restores all of your spell slots, and gives you the chance to catch up with some of your companions on your adventure so far. A lot of yapping happens during long rest, so for the sake of not making this video any longer than it already is, I'll only be going over pieces that tie into the story or to any achievements I'm working towards. It's during long rest that you can learn more about characters' backstories, interests, personalities, and even romance and goon together. Since this was our first long rest, there was a few things my companions wanted to say. Lae'zel, in typical Lae'zel fashion, was being stupid and annoyed we were resting.
A monster forms inside us, and you think to be idle.
Shut up, you're annoying. Gale was having a midlife crisis, rightfully so, given the deep doo-doo we're all in. Asterion was cranky about, I don't even know what. Bro was just mad for the sake of being mad. And Shadowheart was given the vibes of being low-key jealous, but also was not afraid to share her disgust for Lae'zel's species.
She's not of this world. I'd be surprised if our interests remained aligned.
After sleeping through the night, we then wake up in camp, but it's daytime. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Even though we talked to everyone in camp already, because we now slept through the night, each companion can have new things to say. I decided to see if we can learn more about Shadowheart and her weird little spiky ball thing, but also try to respect her boundaries because she has a lot of secrets, and in order to learn more about her, you kind of have to be careful with what you say.
Just forget you ever saw it.
Nobody else in camp had anything important to say, so now that we have some more thieves' toolkits, let's try to open this damn door again. I have a total of 3 toolkits, and I don't think I got it. Close. I didn't get it again. So close. I think I got it. Oh my god, I got it. After entering through the damn near impossible to unlock door, we enter a heavily trapped room. I do have a few disarm trap kits, and there's an item inside the center sarcophagus that'll help out my character quite a bit for the time being. I got everyone out of harm's way in case things went bad, and then had Asterion try to disarm the trap. The item inside the sarcophagus that would be helpful to my character was the spear called the Watcher's Guide. This isn't an amazing weapon by any means, but it's better than everything I currently have, so I'll take it. Pushing ahead, we come across a room with a bunch of skeletons with basic weapons on them. I took everything they had because it's free money, and because it'll help me with what's about to come. Pressing that button awakened all of those skeletons, plus one more that I either didn't see or just spawns after you press the button. But since I looted all of the skeletons before pressing the button, none of them had any weapons and could only cast spells. Taking these weapons made this fight pretty easy. I wasn't ever really in any major trouble here. We made pretty quick work of these dudes. After taking out those guys, we entered into a hidden room that opened up and found ourselves talking to some boomer. So that old bag of bones was Withers, a guy who just hangs out in the camp the entire game. He can allow you to respec your characters, hire extra people, and even revive dead companions, but each of these things have a price. It's gold. It's not like your soul or anything crazy. Literally just some money. I don't know what bro plans on doing with the money anyways. Maybe he doesn't know either, because you can just straight up steal your money back from him, and even if you fail, he doesn't care, and you could just keep trying again and again until you get your money back. And since gold is so important in this game, that's exactly what I did. Now that we can finally respec our characters, we should do that that now, starting with Shadowheart. I turned her into a monk. Her playstyle right now will be doing big damage by just punching the hell out of people and then being really good at lockpicking. Next up is Gale. We'll be making him into a warlock. His playstyle will be basically the exact same as it already was, just better and more focused on doing good damage. And finally we have Lae'zel. She will be our cleric, the one who's responsible for helping keep the party alive with some protection spells and extra healing spells she'll get, which will help us save on health potions in the long run. Now that everyone has been respec'd, we're now going to be transitioning from a 4-person party to a 3-person party. Lae'zel will be the one who stays at camp the entire time as a sort of safety net. The only way we can lose the run is if everyone in the party dies. Everyone in the party can't die if one person always stays in camp. I know, I'm pretty huge brain. You should probably subscribe because I'm just so genius and you can't help but respect it. Who said I was following a guide? We're by no means done respecing characters, and this won't be the exact party the entire run. We'll actually be swapping people out quite a bit, but this is what we'll be using for the next good bit. Now that we have our build started, it's time to push onwards to try to find a healer to help us with this little piece of fish bait stuck in our heads. This eventually leads us to an area where we hear some shouting in the distance.
That pack of goblins will be on us any second! You let goblins here? By the 9 hells! Open the gates!
Oh shit. Ah, bro got sniped. Ah. Rip. Come on, you 3 had it. You guys could have done it.
Damnable roach! Provoke the blade and suffer its sting.
Corny ass. This fight went super smoothly and nothing too crazy happened, so I won't go over it. Just know we smacked these goofy ass goblins around like they were nothing. Unfortunately, this guy, Aradin, died during the fight. This will be important information, but we'll circle back to that shortly. Once inside, we learn this is a druid grove, and all the non-druid people who are currently staying here are being forced to leave. There's a lot that can happen here, but it's mostly just walking around and yapping to people. No joke, on my first playthrough, I'm pretty sure I spent about 10 hours here just talking to everyone and doing side quests. There's a lot here, but we're only here for a few specific things. Firstly, we'll need to recruit Johnny Badass over here named Will. This is just a personal opinion, but out of every companion in the game, Will is kind of the worst one when it comes to their story. Don't get me wrong, his story is by no means bad, it just doesn't come anywhere close to anyone else's storylines. We then come across a few tieflings arguing about whether they should stay or leave. We want them to stay for the sake of making some stuff easier on us later on. Now that's done, we're gonna head out of the Druid Grove, but we're not done here. We'll be back very soon. We just have a couple of stops to make real quick. Remember how I said Aradin's death was kind of important a little bit ago? Well, we needed him to live through the fight in order to start a quest line that's going to become super important throughout the game. But since he's dead, we can't do that anymore because the dead can't talk, obviously. Did you have anything of value?
Contract.
What is this contract?
What's gold for my son?
Did you fulfill your contract?
We failed. Goblins. So many goblins.
Okay, I actually wasn't sure if talking to his dead body would still start this quest, but I'm happy to know it definitely does. Even if it didn't, there was other ways to start this quest line. This way is just the easiest way. Now that's out of the way, we've got 2 more stops to make. This is Scratch, the goodest of boys. He's going to be very useful later on, but as of now, this is all we have. 1 like equals 1 pet for Scratch. If you don't like the video, then you're denying Scratch pets. And the next stop we have to make is... Are you alright?
Me? Never been better. It's you, from the Nautiloid. Please tell me I found you before those so-called paladins of Tyr did. Well met, soldier. Now that we're old pals, how would you feel about helping me kill some evil bastards?
We're not going to be doing anything with Karlach yet because her request, killing those paladins, yeah, we're not ready for that at all. With those 2 stops done, we circled back to the Druid Grove and spoke with Kaga, who we find out is the temporary leader of the Druid Grove. Currently, she's trying to punish a child for trying to steal a sacred idol, but she's kind of being a little too harsh. Imprison her, she's just a child.
You mean parasite? She eats our food, drinks our water, then steals our most holy idol in thanks.
Since we are able to convince Kaga to let Arabella go, we'll follow up with Arabella shortly. But while we're here, we should talk to Nettie, the healer, about our little worm problem.
I don't have a cure. I never once saw a mind flare infection. Then suddenly, there's dozens of you. Master Halsin and I were tracking them, studying them, trying to figure out what the hells was going on. Infected, folks like you, have been converging on an old temple of Selûne, and I've no idea why. When Master Halsin heard the adventurers were heading that way, he saw a chance to get answers. Joined on the spot. Whatever he found there, he didn't make it back.
We now have a new lead on how to get these damn grubs out of our head, and that's where we're heading next. On our way out, we find Arabella with her parents, and as a thank you gift, they give us a pretty useless necklace. But we'll have a different use for this piece of trash later on, so we'll hold on to it for now. Really though, I just saved these people's daughter and they give me a damn nightlight necklace? What the hell am I supposed to do with this, bruh? Shortly after that, we get stopped by Raphael. Raphael is a devil who's attempting to make a deal with us to rid us of the tadpole. However, he's speaking in weird riddles and I'm too dumb to understand what he's talking about, so he doesn't pass the vibe check and we politely decline his offer. We continue onward to try to find Halsin, the true leader of the Druid Grove. This area up ahead has a lot of enemies we don't want to fight yet, so to still progress but not get our asses kicked, I disguise myself as a drow, which, depending on who you ask, is either a very fearful race that you should be scared of, or a race that you can't stand. You thought Shadowheart's disgust to Lae'zel's people was bad? Drows get it way worse. The guys in the area up ahead are the type that are scared of drows, so that works perfectly for us. After gaining free passage through this train wreck of what used to be a village, Gale has something he wants to say.
We've been traveling together for a while now, and it's just about time that I shared something with you. I have this condition. Very different from the parasite we share, but just as deadly. Every so often, I need to get my hands on a powerful magical item and absorb the weave inside.
Remember that dumbass nightlight necklace Arabella's parents gave us for saving their daughter? Yeah, that shit is useless to us, other than being a nice little snack for Gale. So he got to munch on that so he doesn't get hangry on us for a bit. So now that Gale is satisfied for now, we push onwards through the blighted village and into the goblin camp. On our way into the goblin camp, our party has a collective vision of 3 people aura farming. This is just some subtle foreshadowing that we'll get to worry about later. So let's just focus on the now. Currently, we don't want to fight really any of the enemies in either the goblin camp or the blighted village. We'll come back very soon to wipe them all out for the XP and to loot everything they have to further fund our adventures. But as of right now, main thing we want to do is speak with the priestess Gut. Such a dumbass name. First thing we want to do is to get branded. This is just their easy way of knowing if you serve the absolute or not. I know I haven't talked about the absolute yet, but that's because at this point we don't really know who or what the absolute is. All we know is that basically every bad guy in the game serves the absolute. Now we don't serve the absolute, even though we took the brand. Taking the brand will just make conversations easier, and there's some pretty good gear that only works if you have the absolute's branding, so that's why we took it. Again, anything to make this run easier, I'm taking that shit, no questions asked. Now that we have the branding, we want to go talk to Gut in private.
Don't want anyone peeking on private matters, so there we go. Secret and safe.
It was a little dirty.
She sees the mind flayer holding a wriggling tadpole to your eye, and then the vision lurches. And you are looking through her eyes as a tadpole squirms into her skull.
Helps! We need to fish that thing out before it eats any important parts of your brain.
Do you not think you have one?
So drink this. It'll purify ya.
What's the potion for?
It's a liquid blessing. It'll cleanse you, and it tastes better than that rot gut at the party.
You suck at lying. I know you're lying, but I need to do this, so drink the potion. What the fuck? Damn, bro, what you put in my drink? Bitch roofied me, bruh.
Sweet dreams. I'll see your ugly mug on the other side.
Oh, nah, I didn't realize I went to a Diddy party. We've now been drugged and imprisoned because this dumbass wants us to be their pet mind flayer when we turn. As if they don't have a parasite in their own head. You're infected, the same thing will happen to you.
Lies! I'm stronger than ever, and I've got the absolute on my side. But
You're so dumb.
You're on your own. Nothing more than a skin suit for that monster inside you. You're gonna be my new pet. A ferocious squiddy. All for myself.
Look, these goblins aren't the brightest, and this idiot is no exception to that. We then get saved by Corilla, who we find out is someone who works for Raphael. Remember Raphael? The devil guy who speaks in weird riddles? Good to know this freak is still stalking us. Either way, we're free now with the Absolute's branding, and Gut, one of the leaders here in the goblin camp, now dead. And we didn't really have to do anything to make all of this happen. We're not done with the goblin camp, but where we currently are makes for some quick and easy access to a pretty good weapon for our character. We come across a room with a puzzle in it, and after solving said puzzle, puzzle, we can now enter the Underdark. We won't be here for very long. Again, just need to grab a weapon while it's so close to us. But before going out this gate, we want to lure this Minotaur to us so these pretty little lights can brutally kill it for us. If we were to attempt to take that thing on by ourselves, we'd get our shit rocked. So we just made the pretty lights do the hard work for us. Now that he's out of the way, we can go outside and grab the sword and the stone. The character with the highest base strength in my party is my character, so let's see if he can pull the sword out of the stone.
No matter how you grip or tug, the sword remains firmly lodged in the stone.
Well, next highest is Shadowheart. I could buff her using a potion to give her even more strength, but I've been trying to save those for combat. However, this sword is too important for me to get right now, so I can't really risk any chances. So, fuck it, we ball.
It feels like you're warring with 10 people for the blade, but with another hard yank, the weapon slips free from the stone.
Thanks to Muscle Mommy, we now have the sword and are done with the Underdark for now, so let's head back up to the Goblin Camp to finish up a couple more things there. Once we're back in the Goblin Camp, we found this dude being tortured but managed to free him. Then we saw this dude who got off to pain and wanted us to join in. We did. Made him look like a little bitch. Pretty sure he creamed in his pants while he was hitting me. Then we found Volo being held prisoner, so we managed to free him as well and told him to meet us back at camp. After freeing Volo, it was time for us to take a long rest in order to get some progress in some of our companions' stories. When we recruited Will back at the Druid Grove, he told us he was hunting down Karlach to kill her because she's a devil, and since we've recruited both Will and Karlach now, this is how that went.
Karlach, the Archdevil Zariel's gladiator, come to burn the Sword Coast to ash.
You got it all wrong, Will. Karlach's not about to hurt anyone.
Not counting the fuckers that need a good hurting.
I know your kind. You'd cut a child's throat just to taste the blood.
A devil? I didn't take the blade for a fool.
A great fire roars through you. The fire of the first hell. You are Karlach, tearing through demons across a blood-red landscape of fire and volcanic cinder. The front lines of the Blood War. With every swing of her axe, Karlach fulfills Mistress Zariel's purpose.
Proof! Clear as summer sky. It's over,
You're
Karlach.
so dumb.
It's time you feel the sting of the blade.
I'm not what you think I am.
Another vision. Karlach's blade rays slicing through devils, Zariel's servants, as her eyes dart around, seeking escape. Will shudders with Karlach's desperation. She is a victim of the Blood War, not an agent of it.
My Balduran's helm, No, I will not be tricked.
I may be an effective soldier, but I never wanted to serve Zariel. Legged it away from her the first chance I got.
And yet you serve.
You're so dumb. Shut up.
I swear to you, on all I am not what you think.
Shit!
Dumbass. After Will's temper tantrum, nothing else really important happens until morning, where Volo believes he has the cure to our little worm problem.
I could attempt an extraction. I've a needle in my tunic, after all.
Volo carefully holds one of your eyes open and begins to prod uncertainly with the needle.
God.
The needle finds the gap between eyeball and socket.
Oh, God. I hate it. I hate it.
And begins to push.
Oh my
Pain
God.
shoots through your body as the needle snags on your optic nerve.
I think I have it.
The needle seesaws back and forth,
Gross.
plucking the nerve like a harp string.
There's some obstacle in the way. I shall need a more robust implement.
Volo carefully withdraws the needle from your eye, then reaching into his bag.
Oh, yeah. That's
He
just
produces
even
an
better.
ice pick. Cold metal presses against the skin beneath your
Oh,
brow.
God.
And then
Oh, I hate it.
tap, tap, stab.
Do you feel that? Ha! I think we have the blighter on the run. Just a little further.
Volo tears the pick from
God.
your brain with a violent jerk. Your eye plops down into the mud.
After Volo's failed surgery, since I did it with Shadowheart, she now has a fake eye that gives her the ability to see invisible enemies within a short range of her. There's literally no other downside to this, and being able to see invisible enemies may come in handy later. I also decided to have Shadowheart be the one to get the eye because she's entirely focused on melee, so it made the most sense. Now that's done, Gale's hungry again, so I just gave him some random junk I didn't need so he'd shut up and leave me alone for a little while longer. I was a grown man, go feed yourself. Why do I have to give you food, bruh? We now move on to Joaquin's Rest, which we find is currently in the middle of burning down, and there's some survivors trapped inside. We want to save everyone possible for some easy XP, and we'll get a decent weapon for doing so as well. But before we could even start the rescue mission, how are you hurt? Get out of the fire. What are you doing? Where are you? Get out of it, you idiot. The fuck is wrong with you? Now that Shadowheart's done pulling stupid ass pranks, let's attempt this rescue mission.
Heat coming off that door.
Oh fuck.
Could spell trouble.
Why the hell did my character decide to give me a warning about the damn door as I was opening the door? I completely forgot opening this door was a bad idea, and now the chance at saving all those people and getting that new weapon? Yeah, we can kiss all that shit goodbye. With that going literally the worst it could possibly go, we're now ready to go back for some cleanup. Remember all those times I said, we'll come back here later and kill these guys? Well, we're doing all of that now. So we went back to where we found Withers and finished up the rest of the looters that were still inside. Then we went back to the Druid Grove and stopped this bugbear assassin from trying to assassinate a tiefling. Then we stumbled across some people mourning over their fallen leader, then convinced them to try to kill the creature that caused their leader to die. We'll circle back to them shortly. After that, we went back to the blighted village and stumbled across some freaks getting freaky.
What the hell are you doing?
Do carry on. There's bookshops in Baldur's Gate that pay well for this kind of smut.
Tell of my writing, my virility.
Don't want this puny rotting written down.
Puny? I am strong. I am virile. I am
Enough! Moment ruined. Passion squished like slow goats underfoot. We leave.
Now that they're done stinking up the place, there's a drunk guy passed out over here we want to take out for the free XP, and right before we're about to ruin this guy's nap, Gale decides it's snack time. Again, fat ass. After giving Gale his third snack, he finally shares some information about himself and his need to consume magic items. He yaps a lot and takes forever to get to the point, so I'll just sum it up for him. Gale was so obsessed with magic he eventually found himself in a hot and steamy relationship with Mystra, the goddess of magic. However, him being with the literal goddess of magic wasn't enough for him. He wanted even more magic. So he eventually betrayed her trust, and as punishment, she cursed him with his need to consume magic, and if he doesn't consume magic, then he explodes. Keep in mind, we're having this conversation 2 steps away from a dude who's passed out that we're about to kill. Gale's need to consume magic is one of the reasons he's super important to this run, as he'll make some later game fights extremely easy. With his backstory now explained to us, we go on with what we were doing before he started yapping and quickly pieced up this dude. We then move on to the alchemist basement here in the blighted village. Down here we find a hidden pathway to this cave thing that has a bunch of coffins in it. Now, according to the guide, if I just break these one at a time, I should have an easy fight. Fuck. Oh no, he's gonna wake up all of them. No, 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 no. That's not what I wanted to happen. Oh, this is bad. That's not how I wanted this to go. Well, that shit didn't go how I wanted it to. On a real note, damn near anything that could go wrong in this moment did go wrong. From this horrendous start to the fight to nobody landing their damn attacks. Come on, Gale. Are you serious? He's laying down. How do you miss? He's not moving! How are you missing? To my character and Shadowheart playing a game of who can get down the most, this was not one of my proudest moments so far. Thankfully, Gale was able to clutch up and cause us to win the fight, for the love of God! And with all of those assholes dead and my party on its last legs, I decided to quickly take a long rest. During this long rest, we were visited by someone in a dream telling us to harness the powers of the Mind Flayer parasite in order for us to have the strength to win some otherworldly fight that's apparently happening somewhere. Either we're in even deeper doo-doo than we thought we were, or someone, probably Lazel, put some weird shit in our food. After our weird dream, we find out everyone in our group has had the same dream as us. Each person's dream visitor telling them to embrace the powers of the Mind Flayer parasite. We'll learn more about this later, but for now, we should just keep our minds open to the possibility, because I'm not trying to say no to some extra power. After our long rest, Shadowheart professes her desire towards us and lets us in on one of her secrets. She wants to become a Dark Justiciar for her goddess Shar. A Dark Justiciar is basically a warrior for Shar, one of, if not the highest ranking warriors Shar has. That was a load of nothing. I'm not sure why you bothered telling me that. You can be so mean. We then summoned a weird ass... What the hell is this thing? Oh my god, we got the first achievement of the video. After finally getting our first new achievement of the video, we find out this thing is called Shovel. Weird ass name for a weird ass creature, so I guess it fits. We then were able to turn it into a permanent summon for Gale, and I can't say no to extra help.
When the fisting starts, use the sparky magic to call Shovel.
When the fisting starts? What is this thing? After that, it's time for us to return to the Druid Grove once again and free the captive goblin Saza. Once convincing the tieflings to let Saza live, we then break her out of of her cell and have her remain here for a bit. We've got to get her out of the Druid Grove, and the safest and easiest way will be to take a secret exit, but she doesn't have that much health and will only be a burden if we take her with us now. So we enter the secret path, disarm the traps, clear out the enemies, and then return to Saza for a quick and easy escape. Once outside, she tells us to meet her in the Goblin Camp, which we'll do that in a bit. We do end up going back to the Goblin Camp, but not for anything in relation to Saza, but instead to pick off a few drunk goblins for the easy XP. After taking out those guys, it's time for us to long rest again. During this long rest, we get some extra backstory on why Will was so determined to hunt down and kill Karlach. Turns out Will has a pact with a devil named Mizora, and she's the one who told Will to hunt down Karlach. Since Will refused to kill Karlach, his punishment was he grows horns. We then see the Dream Visitor again, and they tell us that the parasite in our head is protected by some form of magic preventing it from being removed. They tell us the only way to remove the parasite is to find the source of where the magic is coming from, and doubles down on us using the powers from the parasite to help us, which I did. Using the parasites we find along our journey will help us throughout the run, and I'm taking all the help I can get, so this is a no-brainer. After that, I saved this kid from some harpies, which keeping this kid alive through this helps us towards an achievement for saving every tiefling refugee in a playthrough. I'm not going out of my way for this on this run, but if I can manage to get it on this run, then it'll save me a lot of time later. Now we need to meet Auntie Ethel at her home so she can potentially help us with the parasite problem, even though it can't be removed as we learned from the Dream Visitor. However, this area can get pretty sketchy, so I decided it was time to recruit some hirelings from Withers and make them be clerics so my party can have additional buffs on them at all times. Since we recruited a hireling, I also got an achievement. After getting the hireling set up, we then push on to Auntie Ethel's house. We don't want to piss her off because she's a pretty reliable vendor for us right now, so we're just gonna act like she's not up to some weird shit with this other person. Her price to get rid of the parasite is RI, which we actually don't want to accept this offer. Accepting this offer puts us at more of a disadvantage for this run than anything, so instead of giving her an answer right now, we just leave, essentially putting this little side story on pause for now. We'll come back to Auntie Ethel later. We then clear out some pretty dangerous enemies in order to pick up some evidence against Kaga, the temporary leader of the Druid Grove, then decide to go throw this dirt we have on her in her eye. Get it? It's a Spider-Man reference. With this evidence we found, it turns out Kaga was planning on turning over the Druid Grove to some other Druid group called the Shadow Druids. I'm assuming they're kind of like a bad group of Druids based on the context given, but we don't ever really learn much about them. We managed to convince Kaga to not turn over the Druid Grove to the Shadow Druids. They get a little mad about that, so we smack them around. Now that's done, I need to steal this idol that these guys have been praying to in order to turn it in for a quest. According to the guide, I can just drop a fog cloud on it and steal it easily.
You've been caught stealing the idol.
How?
The punishment
What?
is death.
What? Okay, why has this happened twice now? This guide is really helpful a good 95% of the time, then it just throws me a curveball and causes me to get in situations like this. I don't know if I'm just stupid and did something wrong, but I feel like there was no other way I could have done this shit. I didn't want to try fighting off all the druids, so I eventually just fled and long rested because they were kicking my ass. During this long rest, Lae'zel accuses Shadowheart of stealing a Githyanki relic. She's referring to the spiky ball thing Shadowheart's had this entire time. I don't know why the hell Lae'zel suddenly has a problem that Shadowheart has this thing, but they damn near killed each other, and they probably would have had we not managed to convince them both to calm the hell down. After long resting, we returned to the Druid Grove, and everyone conveniently forgot that we stole their precious idol, then turned it into mold to complete the quest and get a pretty good ring. Now it's time for us to return to the Goblin Camp again. This time we're here to take out Minthara, one of the 3 Goblin Camp leaders. We've already gotten rid of Priestess Gut, who was the first of the 3, and next up on our hit list is Minthara. Minthara is a pretty dangerous enemy because she has a lot of health and hits really fucking hard. A lot can go wrong in this fight, so I want to follow the guide as closely as I can. First up, the guide tells me to cast Mage Hand to shove off this little floating eye thing into the abyss because it's just easier that way. So let's start there. Fuck, man. Well, shit. This is not the way I wanted this fight to start, but we can still pull it off. Maybe. The guide also warns us about a drum somewhere around here and to do everything possible to not let the enemies use the drum. It even suggests destroying it to relieve some stress. But I could not find this drum, so I assumed it was either in a different area or just wasn't here anymore. After all, Baldur's Gate 3 has had a lot of updates, so it's not impossible. Oh, you're talking about that drum. Uh-oh, don't get it, don't get it, don't get it, don't get it. Fuck. I did not know that was there. Great. Yeah, that's bad. Oh god, they're still coming. So, now the entire Goblin Camp is here to fight us. Yeah, things are looking pretty bad for his chief. I managed to take out Minthara before she could do too much damage to me, and at this point, I knew there was very little chance I was getting through this entire thing alive. If I managed to die, the run won't be over still because Lae'zel is just sitting in camp waiting to revive us. So I accepted my fate and decided to try to take as many goblins down with me to make our next fight in here easier. Over the course of the game, I've been collecting all the explosive barrels I've come across and sent them to camp. And since my character character and Shadowheart were surrounded by a ton of goblins, including the third and final goblin camp leader, I had the bright idea of giving myself one of these barrels and blowing that bitch up to take out most, if not all, of these assholes. Okay, that helped a lot. That actually helped a lot. Well, it didn't kill the last goblin camp leader, but it definitely took out a lot of goblins, so I'll take it as a win. Not long after this play, everyone in my party died to then magically gain back one single health point and then all get thrown into the prison inside the goblin camp. All of our items and weapons were taken and all we had was our armor and whatever spells we could still cast since I was running low on spell points. We managed to break out of the prison, beat up a few goblins guarding the door to where our items are located, then got all of our stuff back. Once we had all of our items back, I quickly long rested to regain all of our health and spell points so we could actually do something again. Inside where we were being held prisoner, we end up finding Halsin being held captive too. After freeing him, it's now time for us to turn our attention to the final goblin camp boss, Dror Ragzlin. You know, for the third and final goblin camp boss, I was really expecting things to be intense here, but it wasn't, like at all. Part of that is probably because of the barrel play I made earlier, so he didn't have as many assholes helping him out, which ended up making this fight extremely easy. We take those around here though. We're done with the goblin camp for now, so I decided now was a good time to bring Karlach with me to meet Damon. Damon? However you say this dude's name. It's here where we learn why Karlach is always so damn hot. Literally, like she's hot to the touch. Anyways, we find out that she has an infernal engine as a heart that causes her body temperature to rise while she experiences strong emotions. With Damon's help, we can attempt to cool her off a bit to be able to actually make physical contact with people, and to progress her storyline to potentially get an achievement later. In order to cool her down, he needs some infernal iron, which we just so happen to already have. So we hand him the goods, he smacks it with a hammer a few times, and then Karlach installs it into her infernal engine heart thing. That's all we'll do with Karlach for now. We'll circle back to her again very shortly. After that, it's time for us to take on the fake paladins of Tyr. Remember the dudes Karlach wanted us to kill when we first met her? We're finally taking them on now. On my first playthrough, these guys kicked my ass bad, and on this run, they didn't hit me once. So yeah, this fight was easy as hell. Either that or I just got insanely lucky. Either way, they're dead now and we push onwards. Not far from where we beat the hell out of those fake paladins, we come across these dudes being attacked by some hyena monsters called gnolls while transporting some special shipment. We want to jump in on this fight for the XP and for the quest tied to that special shipment. This fight can go very bad pretty easily because the odds are really stacked against us. There's a lot of these gnoll monsters and each one can do multiple attacks per turn, so they can really mess us up. But luckily for us, they didn't. This fight also went pretty smoothly for me because the gnolls kept missing a lot of their shots. This luck of mine will be running out soon enough, don't worry, and not in the way you might be thinking, but more on that later. After picking up the shipment, we then deliver it to where it's supposed to go to complete the quest for some easy XP. We also see this guy who owns this painter. We decide to buy the painter off the guy and grant him his freedom for him to then only ask us for booze money on his way back to Baldur's Gate. The sheer audacity this guy has to ask me for more money after I just gave him his freedom. I didn't give him any money. This is not one of those moments where I make you think one thing then instantly do the opposite. Money is extremely important on this run and not giving him extra has no consequences, so I'm missing out on literally nothing. Next up, we go back to Auntie Ethel. Remember how we left her on a cliffhanger about whether or not we'd let her take our eye? Well, now we're gonna give her our answer. We refused her deal and it's a poor bargain. I'll try my luck elsewhere.
As you wish. But should you change your mind, you know where to find me.
So here is where my luck runs out. So I don't know if I either did something wrong or if the game bugged, but I like to assume I'm never the problem and I'm going to just blame it on a bug. So when we refuse Auntie Ethel's offer, she's supposed to get pissed at us and turn into this. Once she does this, we're supposed to enter into combat and she'd eventually flee the fight and run into her fireplace, which you'd find out is fake. But none of that happened because she didn't lose her shit like a toddler when we told her no. So after several minutes of research, it was more like an hour, let's be honest, I was left with only one option. Cycle through every camp member I had to hope one of them passes the perception check to realize that this fireplace is fake, essentially skipping our need for Auntie Ethel to go through it.
Cozy fire.
You failed again. Oh, I got it.
What's hidden behind it?
Fucking finally. Jesus. Oh my God. Thank you. After finally having someone notice this damn fireplace was fake, we push inside to find some people under Auntie Ethel's spell. This fight was super easy, so there's not really anything of importance to go over here. We just needed to kill these guys and that's it. We're still not done with Auntie Ethel, but for now, this is as far as we go. Next up, we find ourselves in an owlbear cave. Remember those dudes who were upset that their leader had died and we convinced them to avenge their fallen leader? This is that moment. The owlbear can be pretty dangerous, especially in honor mode, because there's a fun little quirk exclusive to honor mode. There's now 2 of them, and a baby. Now, the guide suggests to not worry about keeping the baby owlbear alive because it's not really important to this run, but I'm not heartless, so I'm gonna try to keep it alive. And that's exactly what I did. We actually managed to take down both owlbears pretty easily and then finished off the morons we convinced to come here. What? I needed the XP. It was either kill those idiots or kill the adorable owlbear baby. Now here's where we come across yet another bug, and I know this one is for a fact a bug. After you kill the mother owlbear, there's supposed to be a cutscene of the baby one eating the mother. However, since we're playing honor mode, there's a known bug where this just never happens and the baby owlbear just keeps trying to attack you. However, there's a potential workaround to keep the owlbear alive. We just have to flee from the fight and then long rest. After our long rest, the baby shouldn't be here in the cave anymore, and there's a chance we can come across it again later. So that's exactly what I did. During this long rest, all of the tieflings from the Druid Grove decided to join us for a party before they all begin their trip to Baldur's Gate. And everyone at this party was trying to get their freak on. And on this run, I want to romance Karlach for an achievement I can get later. I think I've drummed up the courage to tell you how much I like you.
I like you too. A lot. I'll come find you when the others have gone to bed. Wait up for me, all right? Yes.
A pity for us you have promised your body to the tiefling. I've no doubt you will satisfy your tastes for the mundane.
I don't appreciate the snide tone. I'm happy with my choice.
For now. But come morning, you will wonder.
No, I
You will
won't.
wonder how my lips might have tasted.
No.
How my fingers on your skin might have felt.
I don't want your lizard pussy.
But do enjoy yourself this night. I intend to myself.
Yeah, and enjoy playing with your lizard pussy or something. I don't know. Leave me alone. Fucking weirdo. What's up, Gale?
You, my friend, haven't been near a fresh spring in a 10-day or more. Not that I don't appreciate your musk. Actually, rather like it.
Oh, you a freak. What? You like it?
Go. Indulge in the frivolities. They're good for the heart, and mine will be all the lighter to see you enjoying yourself.
Look, are you a cuck? What? To see me enjoying myself.
Gods, I want to ride you till you see stars.
Oh my, what the hell? During this long rest is when we also get to share our first and very brief kiss with Karlach.
Don't hurt those pretty lips of yours, all right? They feature heavily in my future plans.
Kiss her more deeply, your passion is hotter than her flames.
Wait, no! If I weren't so worried about killing you, I'd be in a puddle on the floor.
Huh?
So,
What?
I better head back to my bunk. You might not be able to touch me, but you give me a lot to think about.
Oh, she better go be freaky by herself. Now that we officially have blue balls, it's time for us to return to the Underdark. This area is, in my opinion, one of the coolest areas in the game. However, all of the story-related moments that happen here are kinda eh. This area completely passes the vibe check, but out of everything in the game, I feel has some of the weaker story moments. However, this area is fairly short, so it also doesn't overstay its welcome. First thing we need to do down here is to get to the Myconid colony. Myconids are these mushroom people who can take over bodies to grow their population and even share each other's thoughts and voices. Basically, if you talk to one Myconid, you're talking to all of them. Main plot points for the Myconids is they're being killed off by some Dweger, and they ask us to exterminate their exterminators, which we accept. Also here in the colony, we find Blurg, a scholar who's trying to make the Underdark less dangerous. He then discovers we have a mind flayer tadpole on our head and suggests he has a friend who can help named Omelium.
No Ceramorphosis.
What the hell?
Yep, his friend is a mind flayer, but this one is just a chill guy. He's broken free from the 9-to-5 grind and is a free spirit. He offers to help us remove it, only to realize he can't because of the magic protecting it, but has an idea for it and therefore sends us on a quest to hunt for some special mushrooms. We agree to find these mushies and then head over to Glut, a Myconid from a different group. He's not from this group and isn't really welcomed here, so he asks for our help to get revenge on the people who killed his group, who just so happen to be the same people, the Dweger, that we already agreed to hunt down. So Glut joins us and officially locks us into the Underdark until either we finish with his quest or he dies along the way. Because he's a Myconid, he's not able to leave the Underdark, which is what causes us to be locked down here for a bit. Glut has the ability to resurrect the dead and fight for them. Remember that Minotaur that got killed by the pretty lights? With Glut now following us, we can now resurrect this Minotaur and now have our own to fight for us. There's 2 more Minotaurs in this area that we need to kill for the XP, as well as being potentially extra summons in case this one dies. What is happening? Okay, so for some reason I couldn't start the fight with the Minotaur. I don't know what the hell was happening here, but we eventually managed to get the fight to start by having someone else from the party attack, to only then notice the Minotaur just never gets a turn. The game was acting like he was in combat, but he just never got a turn and just became a giant waste of space. So I just summoned another. I don't know what the hell was wrong with that other one, but he was stupid as hell because this new one worked perfectly fine. The rest of this fight was extremely easy, especially with the Minotaur actually being useful. After taking out those guys, it's time for us to take on the Spectator. Well, 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 if it isn't a flying ball sack. God, it looks so fucking cool. This thing is kind of fucking annoying to fight. It wasn't overly difficult and was mainly just kind of frustrating to fight because it had some effects on it that encourage you to stay away from it, but the only way you could do some real damage to it was by being all up in its face. That, and it just kept flying around all over the place. Other than that though, it was pretty straightforward and we packed Lil Bro up. After killing one of the coolest creatures in the game, we then saved this idiot who managed to get lost in a toxic mushroom field, killed these mutated dodo birds that missed the message that they're supposed to be extinct, then gathered a valuable resource called Susser Bark. We'll have a use for this later. Once we're done with that, it's time to take on the Dweger. This fight can be a giant pain in the ass because this guy, Gek Cole, can summon in like 6 zombies in a single turn. So the best play is to try to kill him before he ever gets the chance to. So with an invisible Shadow Heart, I snuck up right next to him and beat the shit out of him until he stopped breathing. With him dead, the rest of this fight was extremely easy. Now that the Dweger are dead, we led Gled away so he can't see the bodies. If he does see the bodies, he'll basically take control of them, spew off some nonsense, and most likely end up fighting us. So we just murder him while he's still loyal to us to avoid all of that bull. With Glut now dead, we can now freely leave the Underdark, but before we do, there's one more thing we want to do while we're down here. We work our way toward the Arcane Tower, a now abandoned tower that used to belong to a cleric and inventor. They don't live here no more, so finders keepers. At the top of the Arcane Tower, we come across this iRobot looking ass dude named Bernard. We trick him into thinking we're his long lost master, who again, named him Bernard. I can see why this dude was left behind. After tricking him, we then put these Susser blooms all around his other little robot friends because if they're in range of the flower, they become unable to move. After handicapping all of his buddies, except one for some reason, in hindsight, I could have handicapped this one too, but the guide said to leave one free for some reason, but if you're able to, just make them all unable to move. It makes this fight even easier, and we're fans of making things easier around here. We then put Bernard out of his misery for being named Bernard, then easily take out all of his minions for the easy XP. After that, it's time for us to return to Omelium to hand in the mushies he requested. After turning in the mushies to Omelium, we return back to the Blighted Village to make a weapon out of the Susser Bark we got down in the Underdark. Then we move on to fight the Phase Spider Matriarch. To make this fight a lot easier, I went around and destroyed all the egg sacs she had lying around without her seeing me. If these eggs weren't destroyed before the fight started, she'd instantly hatch all of them and we'd have up to like 18 additional spiders to fight, and I'm not trying to deal with all that. The fight itself is pretty easy, especially when she can't summon in any extra help, so we made quick and easy work of her. And because we killed her without her hatching any eggs, we got another achievement. Yeah, let's go! Kill the Spider Matriarch before her eggs hatch. Once we were done exterminating the spiders, we then stumbled across the Githyanki patrol being led by Kithrak Voss. They're all in search of the spiky ball thing that Shadowheart has, and to make this easier, I disguised myself as a Githyanki and then acted like I had never seen the thing before, which was enough to convince Voss to leave us be. Shortly after that, I noticed Lae'zel wanted to talk to me again, and
your scent alone is enough to make my neck sweat and my hairs stand on end.
Huh?
I want to taste you.
Huh?
Perhaps tonight, perhaps later, but I want it all the same. Do you?
No. I don't know why she can't just accept the fact that I'm not interested in reptile gooch. With our innocence stolen from us because Lae'zel just can't keep it in her pants, it's finally time for us to take on Auntie Ethel. In Honor Mode, Auntie Ethel has a special ability where if you hit her with a spell, she'll make copies of herself. At first I thought these were just like illusions to make you essentially waste your turns, but boy was I wrong. Each of these copies of her can cast their own attacks. Eventually, everyone in my party had Hold Person cast on them, essentially guaranteeing my loss here, except Shovel was still able to fight. So my plan to potentially save this was to have Shovel target one of the copies of Ethel and attack it to hopefully break its concentration, freeing one of my party members. Shovel. For the love of God, dude, you suck. Shovel has got to be one of the most useless summons I've ever used in this game. Shovel is dead ass, only good at being a meat shield, and that's it. I've missed way more times than I've actually hit something with this damn thing. Because Shovel sucks ass, I got wiped. But the run isn't over. It's moments like these that show exactly why we're running a 3-person party. With Lae'zel sitting safely back at camp, I was able to revive everyone and jump right back into the fight again. This time I decided to have Gale mainly focus on clearing out the copies of Ethel, while my character and Shadowheart tried to take down down the real one. It was on this attempt that I learned that doing any damage to the copies of Ethel makes them go away. That would have been good to know the first time, but it's fine. The run is safe, so we're chilling. After a pretty annoying fight, I'm gonna be honest, we get Ethel on the verge of dying when she attempts to make a deal with us. The offer she makes us is she gives us some of her hair, and in exchange we let her leave and take Mayrina with her. We want her hair because it'll give us a permanent boost to any stat we choose, which we can't pass up. However, I wanted to try to at least free Mayrina from this disgusting monster. We managed to convince Ethel to let Mayrina go, as well as give us the hair, and in return, we let her live. We find out that Mayrina was with Ethel in an attempt to bring back her dead husband, Connor. We end up finding a wand with Connor's name on it and tell Mayrina we may be able to complete the spell and resurrect her dead husband.
What's happening? Why is he still dead?
Because he's dead.
I wanted him back the way he was, not this.
Yeah, I don't really know what Mayrina was expecting working with Auntie Ethel's demented ass. Connor doesn't actually come back as himself and is instead just a zombie now. We want to keep the wand for ourselves because Connor can now be a summon we can use whenever we want. He's not really that good for fighting, but he's just more shit for the enemies to attack other than me, and I'm all for it. We basically tell Mayrina finders keepers. She gets mad at us even though we all know she didn't want Connor's rotten undead nasty ass back, and just kind of walks away. I don't think there's anything we could have done to make this lady happy. I guess she's grieving, but damn, she needs to watch who she's talking to, or else I may just send her undead husband after her. Once we're done with all of that, we return to the Underdark to hop on a boat that eventually takes us to an area called the Grimforge. This area is essentially one big mining operation to find some valuable ore called mithril, which is used to make some pretty powerful gear. A lot of pretty minor stuff happens here apart from 2 major boss fights, so I'll only cover those. Here in the Grimforge, there's a bunch of deep gnomes that are being enslaved by the Absolute's followers. We find out there's been a cave-in and one of the leaders of this group named Nier is trapped inside. This fight can be extremely difficult, so we want to prepare as much as we can before the fight starts. To get some more people on our side, we want to talk to Brithvar because he's already questioning his loyalty to Nier, and we want to capitalize on that.
Off with you. Private conversation.
So, he's bugged for me. No matter what I did, he just kept telling me to piss off, so getting his help is off the table, which is just great. To start the fight, we want to use the smoke powder barrel we ended up stealing shortly after we came here. We use this because it has a huge AoE, does a shit ton of damage, and also breaks the rubble so we can actually fight Nier. Once I got my party into position, I blew that bitch up. This killed several people instantly, but also left several people very close to dying, so I quickly picked them all off before they could heal and became more of a problem. Nier has a special ability that gives him 3 instant attacks as soon as anyone hits him. Each of these attacks does an AoE and hurts. Like a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I was getting my ass kicked pretty badly in this fight. Shadowheart eventually died, but I managed to revive her with Lae'zel back at camp to just send her back into the fight again. The fight came down to my party on its last legs, and Nier, still fully capable of kicking my ass. So, like any sane person would do, I made use of some of the explosive barrels I've been stocking up on all game, and fucking bitch. On my first run, this fight took me basically all damn day to do. And in honor mode, it's even harder, and I'm not trying to deal with this jackass for several hours again. I really hate this fight. It's one of my least favorites in the game, and the added difficulty that comes with honor mode only strengthens that hatred towards this fight. Fuck this guy. Now that Nier's dead, we push onwards to the Adamantine Forge. It's here where we want to craft some powerful heavy armor that we'll be able to use later, but before we can do that, we have another boss to fight. When we try to use the forge, this robot dude named Grim shows up and wants all of the smoke. This fight can be hard as hell, but it can also be easy as hell. All we need to do is to get someone to become a druid, which will then give them the ability to turn into an owlbear. Owlbears can do an attack where they jump onto their targets and do damage based on the distance they fell from and how heavy they are. So I swapped out Shadowheart and Gale for the moment and made Karlach become the druid, and Astarion a wizard for the sake of being able to make Karlach even bigger to do more damage. After quickly throwing these 2 classes together, I was then ready to enlarge Karlach with Astarion when I realized I couldn't cast his spell because he was no longer proficient in his default armor. So I just stripped him down to his underwear and then enlarged Karlach. It's now time to send Karlach flying from these stairs and land all the way down on the boss with half-naked Astarion cheering her on. And that's how I want all of my boss fights to go, but that'd be too easy. Since we killed Grim without using the hammer from the forge, we also got another achievement. After taking down Grim and making our new armor to use for later, we're now done with the Grimforge area.
Oh, hell yeah, 2 of them. I guess I never did this.
I decided to head back to the goblin camp to clear up the rest of them for the easy XP and items to sell, when we just so happened to find the baby owlbear we spared a while back being held captive. After killing all the goblins and taking a potion of animal speaking, I decided to check in on the baby owlbear.
Mother gone. Hungry.
Have a camp. You're welcome there.
New home. Maybe.
He runs away. Only time will tell if he'll reappear.
Hopefully soon we'll be able to see his cute little ass again because I just can't get enough of him. Once we're done with the goblin camp, we then push onwards towards the mountain pass where the Githyanki Crush is. The first enemies we come across here are these death shepherds and a group of ghouls. We want to take out the death shepherds first because they're the biggest threat, and if you kill a ghoul, they'll just resummon another.
Now you're gonna summon... You summoned in another one?
Okay, I don't remember them being able to resummon each other. That just made this fight even more annoying than it already was, and you know how we like to treat annoying fights around here. Fucking assholes. He's still not fucking dead. I don't know how this one didn't die from all that, but thankfully we were able to take him out before he summoned in another death shepherd. Is he dead? Fucking finally, Jesus. That was straight up one of the most annoying non-boss related fights in the game so far, but we persevered and we push onwards. We reached the Rossimorn Monastery. Here, we pick off a few pretty easy enemies, collect a few ceremonial weapons to place in a specific order for a buff to our damage, then enter the Githyanki Crush. We get to the Zaith'isk that Lae'zel has been so damn determined about visiting, only to just blow it to pieces with our mind. This doctor lady was pretty pissed about that, but we managed to talk her down just enough to where we could secretly kill her. With her out of the way, we now have access to 4 extra Mind Flayer parasites for upgrades. We're just gonna hold on to these for now, but these will all come in super handy later. We then meet this asshole, who I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce their name. A lot of what we're about to do here is simply for the sake of keeping Lae'zel in our party. If we don't do any of this crash shit, then she'll just straight up leave, and we don't want that happening. We show this asshole that we have the spiky ball, they demand we give it to them, so we do. For it to then only aggressively come back to us. She gets a little pissy about this because she's now not able to take credit for finding this thing and suggests we visit the Inquisitor. Once we go and talk to this Inquisitor, we're then visited by Vlaakith, the leader of the Githyanki. She tells us that someone is living inside the spiky ball and asks us to go into it to kill the person living there. We lie and say we'll help her because if we don't agree to do this, I'm pretty sure she'll kill all of us on the spot and cause us to legit lose the run because for all of this, all 4 party members have to be present. We enter the spiky ball and find ourselves in the same place where we spoke to our dream visitor. The person that Vlaakith wants us to kill is the dream visitor, mainly because they know that Vlaakith's reign over the Githyanki is built entirely on a lie, and Vlaakith doesn't want anyone threatening her rule. We prove to the dream visitor that we aren't there to kill them, and in return, Vlaakith gets pretty pissed. She now wants us dead and will send anyone she can after us to make sure the job is done. Now this next section is by far the most dangerous section so far for this run. Once we leave the astral plane, the entire Githyanki Crush will want to kill us. But according to the guide, if we all just walk out of here while being invisible, we could just stroll right on out of here without fighting a single person. The guide specifically mentions to not bring Lae'zel because she'll try to talk to the Inquisitor as you leave, so to prevent any tomfoolery from happening, she's been replaced by Karlach. And everything was going perfectly until for some dumbass reason, my character and the Inquisitor decided to start talking to each other. Why? Why? This instantly threw my character into combat and nearly wasted all of the invisibility I had on everyone else in the party. So frantically, I re-upped everyone's invisibility and decided my character was going to try to take down as many with him as he could. All I have to do is get one person from my party to escape, then we're all safe. I only managed to take down one person before I got my shit rocked, but I did thankfully manage to get everyone else in my party to safety. Once we're all back at camp, Kithrak Voss ended up showing up. At first, we're made to think he's there on Vlaakith's orders to hunt us down and kill us, but to everyone's surprise, he's also aware of Vlaakith's reign being built on a lie and wishes to expose it and remove her from being the Githyanki leader. Voss tells us to keep the astral prism, or as I've been calling it, the spiky ball, close to us at all times and to not let anyone else get their hands on it. He then goes on his way to avoid bringing any suspicion upon himself.
Bro thinks he's Doctor Strange.
With all that out of the way, we're now ready to... Wait a second. Where the hell is my sword?
Wait, I'm disarmed? I lost my weapon? What? I never even realized I lost it. Oh, that sucks.
It's only just now that I realized that when I was being the brave hero I am, someone from the fight caused me to drop my weapon and I never noticed it. This sword is really good for my character and I didn't want to go further without it. So I sent in Gale to retrieve it for me. With my sword back, we're now ready to push forwards towards the Shadow Cursed lands to only be stopped by this old geezer named Elminster, who has some important information for Gale that comes from the goddess of magic herself, Mystra. Look, this dude is just like Gale in the way that he just yaps for forever and takes so long to get to the point, so I'll sum it up for you. Mystra has promised Gale forgiveness for becoming too greedy with magic if he does something extreme. Mystra has promised to make it to where Gale no longer needs to constantly eat shit to prevent blowing up and instead agrees to give him the ability to control when he blows up, and he must use this ability to destroy the absolute. Essentially, she tasked Gale with getting himself killed. Remember how I said Gale was going to be super important to this run? This right here is why. I won't spoil what happens yet, but just know what's going on right now is extremely important important for something we'll do much later in the game. Gale hesitantly accepts the offer, and Elminster grants Gale the ability to control the orb in his chest that makes him hungry for random shit that has magic on it. And since he did this, we got an achievement. Stabilize Gale's Netherese orb. Okay. I mean, why didn't I get that the first time I did this? I actually did this on my first run too, but for some reason the achievement never popped, so I'm glad it did this time. With that done, we now finally push onwards to the Shadow-Cursed Lands and have officially entered Act 2. There's a total of 3 acts in the game, with Act 2 being the shortest and Act 3 being potentially just as long as Act 1. However, for both of the runs we'll be doing, Act 3 will also be pretty short and more along the lines of the length of Act 2. Act 2 is probably one of the most stressful areas in the game and has a boss that is the biggest threat of us losing this run. So we can't afford any mistakes here and gotta be locked all the way in.
Are you the true soul?
I may or may not be the single greatest true soul you may or may not have met in your life. Oh, that's so stupid.
I'll take that as a yes.
First thing we do in the Shadow-Cursed Lands is come across this group of goblins and absolute followers waiting to make the trip to a place called Moonrise Towers. Moonrise is like the main area of this act, but we'll talk more about that in a bit. First, we've got to worry about getting there. Here in the Shadow-Cursed Lands, there's, well, a shadow curse that prevents you from going too deep into the darkness. If you do manage to go too deep without the proper light source, you can potentially become cursed, causing you to take damage while you're still in the darkness, potentially killing you. For NPCs, they'll become shadow-cursed and become hostile to everything that isn't shadow-cursed. However, normal light from torches isn't really all that useful here. We need to get our hands on a moon lantern, which is essentially just a special torch for this area. All these goblins are waiting for their guide to show up to help them make the trip to Moonrise, and now that we're here, we can play the spider's lyre to essentially call the guide to us.
Yes, I hear them, Your Majesty, calling us.
Ugh, nasty.
And their guide together.
Someone pinch me, please. I'd really love to wake up from this nightmare.
I'm right there with you, dude. This thing's disgusting. Yep, our guide is that disgusting monstrosity. We tell Karnus that we're ready to go, and our trip to Moonrise Towers begins. However, shortly into our trip, we find ourselves getting ambushed by a group called Harpers. We'll learn more about who the Harpers are later. At the very beginning of the ambush, we're prompted to side with either the goblins and fight off the Harpers, or turn against the goblins and Karnus and side with the Harpers. For the sake of making our lives a million times easier later, we want to side with the Harpers for a couple reasons. We want the moon lantern that Karnus currently has, and now is the best chance we'll get to kill Karnus. Because if we don't fight him now, we'd just be setting ourselves up later to fight him alongside a second boss. I'm not trying to fight 2 bosses at the same time, so we're taking him on here. Only problem is, we're not really strong enough to take on Karnus yet. He one-shotted me? What the fuck? So after getting our ass kicked pretty badly, we eventually take down Karnus and take the moon lantern for ourselves. After picking up the moon lantern, we realize that a pixie's inside of it and is the source of its light. We're then prompted to either keep the pixie in the lantern or free it. I chose to free it because it makes exploring around here so much easier. Since we freed the pixie, she granted us protection from the shadow curse regardless if we have light or not. This saves us the trouble of making sure everyone is near the person with the lantern at all times, and makes it to where when combat encounters occur, we can spread out and aren't forced to be grouped up, which is always a bad idea in this game. After getting our protection from the shadow curse, we then head over to Last Light Inn where we meet Jaheira. We find out that she's the leader of the Harpers, who we then learn are a secretive group that's based around fighting off evil. Also, here at Last Light Inn, there's a big ass light dome over the area shielding everyone inside from the shadow curse. This shadow curse shit is everywhere in this act, and everyone is not only trying to avoid going into darkness, but also avoiding all the big bad guys hanging out in this area. But we'll touch more on those guys later. We learn that someone named Isabel is the one casting the light dome over the area, and for the sake of this run, we'll be avoiding her. She has an amazing storyline, but this run is all about making things easier on ourselves, and engaging in her story kind of goes against what our future plans are. We'll learn more about her later, but through the context of other characters. After that, we then meet up with Alfira, a tiefling from the Druid Grove back in Act 1. She tells us about how when the tieflings were traveling through the Shadow-Cursed Lands, they got stopped by a group of absolute followers and had a pretty terrible time. Some of the tieflings were killed on the spot, and the others, if not also killed, were most likely taken to Moonrise as prisoners. So we tell Alfira that we'll try to find them and save them. After speaking to everyone we needed to in Last Light Inn, we then make the adventure ourselves to Moonrise Towers. It's not some grand adventure with countless troubles and hardships. You can literally just walk there, so that's what I did. Keep in mind, everyone inside Moonrise are followers of the Absolute, many of which are infected with mind flare tadpoles like ourselves. However, just as we were getting to Moonrise, Mizora, the devil that Will is bound to, shows up and tells us to save an asset within Moonrise. And if we don't save the asset, she'll condemn Will to hell forever. We tell her we'll see what we can do and then head on inside Moonrise Towers. We come across this lady Araj who gets off to blood or something. I don't know, this lady's weird as hell and low-key reminds me of some girls I went to school with that were convinced they were part vampire or some shit. Speaking of vampires, we actually want Asterion with us so he can talk to her.
Your friend
He's a vampire, no?
Oh, don't worry. We're all friends under the absolute. I won't bite.
Oh, I'd prefer if you did. I assume he belongs to you?
Excuse me? He's his own person.
I'm sure he really believes that. How utterly adorable. Do you have a name, Spawn?
Astarion, but hold on.
Good. Now, Astarion, I've dreamt of being bitten by a vampire since I was a young girl.
I'm sorry. You want to be bitten?
To feel your life's blood slipping away. To dance on the edge between life and death. Yes, I want it.
I will have to decline.
Excuse me? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you're squandering it.
I gave you my answer.
Can't you talk some sense into your obstinate charge?
I'm surprised, Astarion. I thought you'd jump at a chance like this.
I'm sorry, but could you excuse us a moment? Are you actually asking me to do this? Trading me for some potion? Because there's something wrong with her blood. I can smell it from here. It's rank.
His face. Oh my god. What do you mean? What's wrong with her blood?
I can't say. It just smells wrong. Unnatural.
Just suck it up and bite her already.
Fine. I'll do it. Darling, I've had a sudden change of heart. After all, who could resist such a delectable neck? Hold very, very still.
Incredible. Incredible.
Oh, hells.
Not to your taste.
After forcing Astarion to probably get some form of hepatitis from her apparently rank-ass blood and donating some of her own blood to her, we get some pretty powerful potions we'll end up using later in this act. Fun fact, if you use Gale to talk to her and he succeeds a history saving throw during dialogue with Araj, he remembers her family was known for using Mind Flayer blood in some weird-ass experiments, so the whole family is just fucking weird. Got it. Gale can then call her out for this, and to keep us quiet, Araj offers each party member gold for their silence and accepts the blood donation for the powerful potions. So I abused the hell out of that and made everyone, including my camp members, get paid for their silence, as well as get the potions. After scamming the hell out of that weirdo, it's time for us to head to the Moonrise prison, where we find the remaining tieflings are being held prisoner. We want to bust them out of here and keep all of them alive, because this moment is tied to an achievement where we have to save and rescue all of the tieflings possible throughout the game. According to the guide, I can just distract the guards with my character by playing some music away from the cells, while Shadowheart and Gale bust down the walls and try to help everyone escape on a boat, conveniently just chilling here. If all goes well, nobody should ever even enter combat.
Why are you guys here and why are their doors open? So I just teleport me back now? Okay, that just didn't work. Don't understand how we got seen, but we got seen somehow. Great, because there's two fucking eyes. I didn't know there was two eyes.
Well, this is a pretty terrible start, but as long as all of the prisoners get on the boat and escape, then it's a success.
You barely moved. Where are you going? What are you guys doing? Just leave. They're really gonna get themselves killed trying to come up here to save me. So you ran up there to run away. So you just barely move? Can you guys, like, get the fuck out of here? Do they need one of us down there? Like, what the fuck are you guys doing, man? Leave!
Well, who could have guessed this? They bugged for me. Ain't that just awesome? For some stupid-ass reason, these dumbasses just would not get on the damn boat. This left me with only one option to save this. I'd have to kill every guard down here before any of the prisoners died. And these stupid-ass scrying eyes? Yeah, they're just gonna bring in everyone in Moonrise down here to join in on the fight. So it probably goes without saying, we get our asses handed to us and every prisoner died, which means we're now locked out of the achievement for saving all the tieflings on this run, and it'll have to be done on the next one. At least on the next run, when stupid shit like this happens, I'll be able to just reload the save to hopefully fix it. Thankfully, only the prison area of Moonrise stays hostile towards us, and the rest of the area is safe. So after our failed attempt at a prison break, we head into the throne room of Moonrise and get our first look at Ketheric Thorm.
Kill them, quickly.
You creaking old bag of shit!
Oh my god.
I'm so sorry, my lord. She's an unbeliever outside my control.
Try again.
After witnessing one of the hardest introductions to a character ever, we're tasked with deciding the goblin's fate. We want to get them killed here because it'll help us later and is basically free XP. After beating the hell out of those guys, we then go to speak to Zarel, who tells us to go and help Ketheric's most trusted advisor, Balthazar. Balthazar was tasked with getting some important relic for Ketheric, but they've lost all contact. So our job is to go there, figure out what happened, and get whatever the relic is. Before we go tracking down Balthazar though, we got a few other stops to make. First up, I wanted to bring Karlach to Dammon again since we have some infernal iron and can now potentially have him help her with her heart engine problem. It's here where we get some great news and some terrible news about Karlach. With this second infernal iron now installed, Karlach can finally touch people without burning them. However, she can't stay in this realm for much longer or else she'll die. Her only chance at living is to return to Avernus, or Hell, which is where she spent so much of her life trying to escape. Karlach didn't want to talk about the bad news much at the moment because she wanted to enjoy what she could as of now, so we respected her wishes. We then push on to face Thisibald Thorm, who is actually Ketheric Thorm's son. Thisibald is one of the several major threats in Act 2, but like many of the threats in this area, the fight can be entirely avoided while still getting him killed, which is exactly what we want. Fighting Thisibald is annoying as hell because he's immune to basically every type of physical attack you can do, meaning in order to kill him, you have to rely on elemental damage like fire, lightning, etc. And I don't want to deal with all that shit. So what we have to do is essentially outdrink his big ass and tell him stories of our adventures. Gross. Since we outdrank him, he caused himself to explode from drinking too much and got us past the first of several dangerous bosses in this area. We then went around fighting some not as important people for the sake of getting extra XP and more stuff to sell, unlocked this hidden Sharan sanctuary by solving a puzzle, but we don't want to do anything with it yet. We're going to save this for later. While we were going around killing just a bunch of non-important creatures, again, just for the XP and stuff to sell, we get stopped by Raphael outside of the Thorm Mausoleum. We're not going in there yet, but will soon. Since we're near it though, Raphael warns us of another devil inside the mausoleum and tells us to either kill the devil inside or prevent it from escaping. Little ominous that Raphael seems so scared of this other devil, but we'll circle back to that in a bit. After killing off what felt like everyone possible, we then go to face Garangoth Thorm, who turns out to be Ketheric Thorm's sister. Got a whole family tree thing going on here, and this is just the beginning of it. Just wait, you'll see. Also like Thisibald, Garangoth can be a hard as hell fight, but the fight can also be entirely avoided. See, Thisibald was obsessed with drinking and stories, and Garangoth is obsessed with gold. So after tossing them some gold, we can then convince them to just kind of explode. We kind of just break their brain so much to the point that thinking is harder than living, so they just give up and explode. And because we did that, we managed to get another achievement. Oh, we got the achievement for that. I thought the achievement was for defeating her without, like, giving her gold. Okay, well that makes that easier. After taking them out, it's time for us to take on Malice Thorm, who is Ketheric Thorm's brother. Like the other two, Malice can also be talked to death, and his obsession is with converting people to darkness by, like, gouging out their eyes and then killing them. Basically, Baldur's Gate's very own Jeffrey Dahmer or some shit. Malice is surrounded by his nurses, who we want to also talk to death. Malice suggests saving us and wants to grant us eternal darkness. Why don't you have them hone their skills on each other?
Yes, for are we not all in need of a cure? The scalpel does not discriminate. Let each and every one of you partake in its soothing journey.
My God.
It is a proud moment when one sees one's teachings so lovingly taken to heart.
My God.
You are to be commended for their graduation, rewarded with the promised cure.
I am not worthy. Please show me how a master works. I would be honored.
Your diligence is exemplary. Very well. Your own scalpel you will be. Observe, then succeed me into the succor of Shah.
After erasing basically all of the Thorm family off the map, we now want to go into the Thorm Mausoleum, which we find out is actually the Temple of Shar, the goddess that Shadowheart follows. This is the same area that Balthazar is supposed to be, where the devil that Raphael warns us about is at, and where the climax of Shadowheart's storyline takes place. This place is pretty damn important, not only for this run, but for the overall plot of the entire game. First up, we end up finding Balthazar, one of the creepiest people I've seen so far in this game. Balthazar asks us to clear the way of enemies for him so he can easily get to the relic for Ketheric. We ask him if there's anything he can lend to us
pets to help us with this task, so he gives us the ability to summon Flesh, his pet, whatever the hell this abomination is. After finding some minor, not too important enemies here, I decided to take a quick long rest when Karlach decided she was going to make the most of being able to touch people. Yeah, we got our freak on. I'm not showing any of this to y'all because 1, why you want to watch? You're giving strong Gale vibes from earlier.
Go. Indulge in the frivolities. They're good for the heart, and mine will be all the lighter to see you enjoying yourself.
Look, are you a cuck? What? To see me enjoying myself. And 2, even though I have nudity turned off, deadass, all that covered Karlach's coochie was like a dried up leaf, bro. I'm not trying to get my channel taken down. So I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna have to hit you with the, trust me, bro, I got to hit. After making the camp get all sticky, we then press on to complete the Trials of Shar. Remember how a while back Shadowheart was talking about wanting to become a Dark Justiciar? Well, this is the area where that process takes place. In order to become a Dark Justiciar, you have to complete a series of trials based around stealth, combat, and blind faith. The stealth and combat trials are self-explanatory and pretty easy, but the blind faith trial, yeah, this shit sucks. Essentially, what you have to do in this trial is walk across an invisible path across a bottomless pit to the other side of the room. And this shit is just annoying, bro. So I kind of cheesed it by using a bone and placing it ahead of me to make sure the area was safe to stand on. Now that those 3 trials are out of the way, we want to make use of Flesh, the thing that Balthazar gave us the ability to summon earlier. This area is called the Silent Library and is filled with a bunch of ghosts of former Dark Justiciars. They're just the common enemy in this area that I was talking about earlier. We want to summon Flesh in here to help us take out these guys, but mainly to let them take out each other. Once Flesh is close to dead, we betray him and kill him ourselves, then finish off the rest of the Dark Justiciars. We really want Flesh dead for something that happens here in a bit to make things easier on us, so that's why we betray him. Plus, look at it, bruh. The world's better off with him not being able to walk around freely. After killing Flesh, we then grab the Spear of Night, which is important for the 4th and final trial of becoming a Dark Justiciar. But before we do that, we want to go beat up on some rats. I also took this moment to get a very specific achievement for using an enemy as an improvised weapon against another. There we go. Now look, this may just look like senseless violence on innocent animals, but what we soon find out is that these rats are actually the last remaining Dark Justiciar. I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce this dude's name, but we want to kill him for the sake of something you'll see here in just a bit. But he kind of just keeps phasing in and out of existence. Apparently this is a common bug with this dude, and I saw a common fix was to simply push him, so I tried that, and yeah, that shit didn't work. So I just slowly killed him in between the split seconds he did exist, and luckily for me, while he was deciding if he wanted to exist or not, he wouldn't ever actually take a turn, so this was just a free and easy win for me. Would you look at that, a bug that actually worked in my favor. After killing that dude, we come across the devil Raphael warned us about named Yurkir. We learned that Yurkir was bound to the Temple of Shar until all the Dark Justiciars were dead, but he couldn't find the last one that we just killed. Since we killed the last Dark Justiciar, Yurkir was thrilled to no longer be bound to the area, only to then have all of that joy stripped away from him when Raphael showed up again. Turns out, Raphael is the one who bound Yurkir here, and is also the one who hid the last Dark Justiciar with the hope that it'd never be found, essentially trapping Yurkir here in the temple forever. However, since Yurkir wasn't the one to kill the last Dark Justiciar, Raphael's control over Yurkir remained, and Yurkir's freedom was never granted. Sadly, that's where Yurkir's story will end for us. We won't be following up with his story any further, and are essentially done with Raphael now too. It's not like there isn't an end to his story, because there definitely is, and it's amazing. It just will have no relevance to anything for this video, so we'll be skipping it. I won't spoil what happens with his storyline because I honestly feel it's something that's better experienced for yourself than it would be for me to just tell you. After all of that is done, we return to Moonrise to kill off literally everyone there. This will help make things easier on us later, so that's the point of all of this. Just know, all of these people were going to get killed anyways, so it's better to do it now while we have the advantage rather than them having the advantage over me. After clearing out all of Moonrise, I decided to take a long rest because all that violence is tiring work when the baby owlbear showed up. Oh, the owlbear's bag. Fetch a piece of food from your bag.
The cub's eyes lock onto the food in your hand.
Keep the food held out in front of you. Don't bite me.
Now that you've fed it, we'll never be rid of the beast.
Oh, shut up. You scared it. We haven't seen the last of his adorable ass, so just wait. We'll see him again. It's now time to take on Balthazar. No matter what you do, you have to fight Balthazar. However, you can do it the safe and easy way, or the way to potentially lose the run. Obviously, we're choosing the safe and easy way. We stroll back to Balthazar's room in the Temple of Shar, and since Flesh died earlier, he's no longer here to help with what we're about to do. So we smack up Balthazar and take him out pretty quickly. This method is so much easier than the first way I did it. Last time I fought this dude, it took me several hours to finally win the fight. This time, it took me like 10 minutes. Now that Balthazar's dead, we head to the heart of the temple to find someone named Nightsong trapped here. Nightsong is the relic that Balthazar was in search of. Essentially, Nightsong is immortal and can't ever fully die. They can temporarily die, but they'll eventually just come right back. Ketheric has been using Nightsong's immortality to make himself immortal. Nightsong is also the final trial for becoming a Dark Justiciar. Using the Spear of Night to kill Nightsong will complete the ritual of becoming a Dark Justiciar. This is the moment Shadowheart has been waiting for as long as she can remember. We want Shadowheart to become a Dark Justiciar for this run because it'll give us a whole new set of gear and a weapon that'll be useful for what's about to come. So, we encourage Shadowheart to complete the ritual and she becomes a Dark Justiciar. As soon as the ritual is completed, we see Isabel struggling and eventually failing to keep the light dome up over Last Light Inn, dooming everyone there to the Shadow Curse. Then Shar speaks directly to Shadowheart, telling her to kill Ketheric Thorm for betraying her. After we became the sole cause for the death of a shit ton of people, we returned to Last Light Inn to kill all the Shadow Curse people there, giving us a lot of XP and stuff to sell later, because I can't sell it now since every vendor in this act is dead. Now that Last Light Inn has been cleared out, I decided to take another long rest when the baby owlbear showed up to camp again, but this time injured. Like any sane person would do, I healed the baby owlbear and it's now permanently staying in our camp. Now that we're all in tip-top shape, it's time to take on Ketheric Thorm. Before we go to fight him though, we want to loot his room for this note we end up finding from his wife. Reading the note will make our lives easier later, and with that done, it's now time to fight him. On the roof of Moonrise, we face off with Ketheric wearing his anime villain-ass monologue. We learn that his wife and daughter died, but he was able to bring his daughter back. Want to know who his daughter is? It's Isabel. Yeah, the lady who was protecting Last Light Inn? Yeah, that's his daughter. Essentially, every major character in Act 2 is related to Ketheric in some way, and we just killed all of them. Needless to say, Ketheric doesn't want to be our friend, and the fight begins. And it doesn't start off well. The goal at the start of this fight is to get Shadowheart to knock Ketheric prone to easily take him out, but... okay, well that didn't fucking do what I wanted it to do at all. And shortly after that, Ketheric did this. And we're all frightened now. Are you fucking serious? What? What is that? What the fuck? After that horrendous start to the fight, things finally started to turn in my favor, and we eventually got Ketheric down to about half health win.
My lord beckons
fucking bitch, dude. You're annoying.
You have no idea what you're meddling with. You're a pawn, a slave to forces you cannot comprehend. The chosen, and you are nothing. Follow. See.
Fucking bastard. Following after Ketheric, we find ourselves in a Mind Flayer colony somewhere deep under Moonrise. We want to avoid all possible encounters in here and make a beeline straight for Ketheric, where we find ourselves at the most important moment for this entire run. Ahead of us lies the biggest threat to us losing the run. Easily the hardest boss in the entire game. To put into perspective how much is on the line here, it's taken me about 80 hours to get to this point, and there is no reviving back at camp here. All 4 party members must be present for this boss. So if things don't go well for us here and we end up getting wiped, that's 80 hours just gone, and we have to restart the honor mode run from the very beginning again. So before entering the room, I buffed myself in every possible way I could, using any summons I could cast, applying any and all potions to each party member I could, returning back to the Sharan Sanctuary that I had unlocked earlier for some buffs to Gale's Charisma and Shadowheart's Wisdom, swapping out Lae'zel with Karlach and essentially making her a duplicated Shadowheart. I'm going all in on this fight. I want to enter this fight absolutely swinging. Inside the room is Ketheric, a Mind Flayer, some walking brains, and some necromites. Once going through the door, we see Ketheric standing beside 2 other people who we learn is named Orin and Gortash. Together, the 3 reveal that they're controlling an Elder Brain, which is essentially the leader of everything Mind Flayer related. It's here that we learn what exactly the Absolute is. The Absolute is the Elder Brain, but it's controlled by Ketheric, Gortash, and Orin. Together, these 3 are raising an army of Mind Flayer parasite-infected people to destroy the city of Baldur's Gate, and the only people who have a chance at stopping them is us. Orin and Gortash will have their time, but currently, we've got to take care of Ketheric. So after Orin and Gortash leave, it's time to prepare for the fight. To get my party into position without the fight starting right away, I made everyone go invisible, positioned Shadowheart behind the Mind Flayer, my character and Karlach next to Ketheric, and Gale in a position a bit farther back to be able to attack from a distance, since ranged is his specialty. As soon as the fight starts, we want the Mind Flayer to die. Best case scenario, it never gets a turn. This thing can stun us and potentially screw us over for the entire fight, so it has to go first. Before the fight begins though, we have to talk to Ketheric.
There you are. as predicted. What is it, I wonder, that draws one toward death like a moth to light? You could have run away, absconded with the prism. The one thing that could prevent me from fulfilling my destiny. But the lure of one's destiny is irresistible, isn't it? Perhaps you hope to learn your place in history before you are erased from it. A bright flash of clarity before the snuffing out.
Remember that letter we found in Ketheric's room? This is why it was so important. Because we read the letter, we were able to essentially just skip the first phase of this fight by convincing Ketheric to just jump into this pit. Ketheric's death, however, didn't go unnoticed.
Here it is. Scariest moment of the game. Yeah, and I'm about to beat your ass. It's cool as hell.
Now that Merkel is pissed at us for killing his chosen, my 80-hour run is officially on the line. Kicking off the fight, we want to focus on the Mind Flayer. Shadowheart was able to knock it prone and got it extremely close to dying, and thankfully, Gale was able to finish off the kill, preventing the Mind Flayer from ever getting a turn. Merkel has a few special abilities on top of 390 health. First, anything near Merkel gets Bone Chill applied to them, which makes them unable to heal. Second, the first person to attack Merkel each round gets hit with a reaction that does necrotic damage and potentially frightens the target. Frighten makes it to where you can still make attacks, but you can't move. And finally, Merkel can call the Necromites to come to him to sacrifice themselves to him in order to heal him. Sounds like a perfect recipe for disaster.
Nice. Hell yeah. Big damage to him. Nice. Shit. Okay, so in one turn, we did over 100 damage. That's fucking awesome. That shit almost killed me. So I need this to get cast on him. Now he's blinded. Okay, you're supposed to be blind and you're still hitting me with that. Nice. Damn, he still hit Karlach with that? He's down to 197. So we're doing really, really good. Nice, critical hit. Gonna try to hit us. Did hit us. Okay, do this again. Nice, staggered. Do a new big one. Nice, do it again. Oh my god, he's under 100 health. Oh, we got this shit. We got this. Nice, nice. This is going so well. Can't speak too soon though.
Throughout the fight, things were going surprisingly really well. Like, I'm not joking when I say this. I've been so nervous for this fight for weeks. I've been doing endless research on strategies for this fight, learning what does and does not work, what is a reliable way to win and what isn't. And when the final moments of the fight started to approach, even my girlfriend wanted to see.
She's okay. She saved every single saving throw for this cloud right here. Shadowheart is coming in clutch right now. He's dead. Oh my god. Oh, and I got an achievement for killing him before he could consume any necromites. Fuck yeah. That was so nerve-wracking.
I did it. The hardest part of the run was finally behind me. The biggest threat to the run was finally defeated. After weeks of planning and strategizing how I would approach this fight, when it came to the time to finally put all that planning into action, I managed to beat Merkel's ass so bad that he never even got the chance to call his necromites to him to heal. This moment had to be one of the most intense moments I've ever experienced in a game. There's been countless times where the story or gameplay becomes intense in a game. However, I always knew that if I failed, I could just restart almost instantly where I left off. Having 80 hours of my life on the line for this single moment has got to be one of the most intense and stressful moments I've ever had playing a game, and the pure satisfaction that comes along with defeating Merkel in honor mode is completely unmatched. After defeating Merkel, the Dream Visitor shows up and provides some more story-related details. We learn that Ketheric, Orin, and Gortash are all the chosen of 3 major gods. Ketheric was the chosen for Merkel, the god of death, Gortash, the chosen for Bane, the god of tyranny, and Orin, the chosen for Baal, the god of murder. These 3 gods are also known as the Dead Three. They're some of the most powerful gods, and the fact that they're working together is only bad news. After learning a bit more about our future enemies and leaving the Mind Flayer colony, Karlach has something to say.
Will! No! No! How could this happen so fast? He's gone! Don't you understand? He's gone!
I had no idea this was going to happen. I'm so sorry.
Don't apologize to me. Apologize to him. Not that he'll hear you where he is. You saw Gortash, didn't you? What the fuck was he doing
Oh my god, she's so pissed.
Is all of this because of him?
He's a servant of Bane, as Ketheric served Merkel.
He has to die. And I'm gonna be the one who kills him.
Oh my god, she's about to fucking pop a blood vessel, relax. So since we ignored everything inside the Mind Flayer colony and went straight for Merkel, we ended up skipping past freeing Mizora's asset, which we learned was herself. Us not saving her caused her to return to Avernus or Hell and bring Will along with her. Will is now permanently gone and we can't get him back. Now that Ketheric is dead and Merkel has been defeated, it's time for us to push onwards towards Baldur's Gate, making us officially finished with Act 2 and bringing us to Act 3. Again, Act 3 can potentially be just as long as Act 1, however for this run, we'll be skipping basically everything this act has to offer. The more we skip here, the less likely things can go wrong. Act 3 opens up with us being ambushed by Githyanki while we're at camp. The Dream Visitor then helps us escape into the Astral Prism, only to find ourselves in another fight. The Githyanki are actively attacking the Dream Visitor, so we quickly rush to help them, only to find out the Dream Visitor isn't who they've appeared to be this entire time. The Dream Visitor, now known as the Emperor, asks us for help to get the Githyanki back under control because if they manage to break free, then our protection from the Mind Flayer parasite goes away with them. So we agree to help the Emperor fight off all the Githyanki and get this guy back under control. We learn that this guy is named Orpheus and is the true leader of the Githyanki. It turns out the lie that Vlaakith's rule was built on was based around Orpheus being dead. Orpheus was never actually killed and instead trapped here in the Astral Prison by Vlaakith so she could take his place as ruler. However, she didn't want to kill Orpheus because he's one of the most powerful Githyanki alive, and she wanted to keep him alive long enough to figure out how to take his power from him and give it to herself. To get a sense of how powerful Orpheus is, with the help of the Emperor, Orpheus is the sole reason we haven't become absolute followers. So with Orpheus back under control, it's time for us to head into the city of Baldur's Gate. Here in the city, we meet up with Gortash. Here we learn that he's willing to betray Orin and share control over the Elder Brain with us. Potentially one less boss to fight for this run? Count me in. We accept Gortash's offer of an alliance and agree to kill Orin. Not long later, I decided to take a quick long rest and finally take Karlach on a date. This was just wholesome all the way around. She wanted to pretend like we hadn't known each other the entire time and had only just met. Then after our date, we got our freak on again, and I'm pretty sure she put her fingers in my butt. I'm not showing y'all this stuff, we've been over this already. After Karlach was done soiling my booty hole's innocence, we got another achievement for taking her on the date. You put a finger in my butt? Hot date, go on a hard date with Karlach. Now that's playing with fire. There we go. Now Karlach's finger isn't the only thing that's going to be stinky, because next up we're heading into the sewers. Down here we find several Baal worshippers killing people, so we decided to send them to their god early. We then discovered that the city of Baldur's Gate has been having a bit of a murder problem going on. We end up finding out that a good majority of these murders are tied to Baal worshippers, because that's just how they worship this god, by killing people. We end up finding a hit list of a bunch of soon-to-be victims, so we go to warn them before it's too late. The first person we warn is a sweet old lady named Cora. She was about to taste test some wine with a few other people when we told her she needed to get somewhere safe quickly. After warning her, one of the people who was about to taste test with her started to lose his shit because turns out he was the murderer. So we fought him, but he managed to escape right before we could finish him off. Since he escaped, the other people on the hit list were still in danger, so the next person we went to warn was a shopkeeper named Figaro, when we managed to walk in just in time. Turns out the murderer went straight to Figaro and was already making his move. We interrupted his prayer? Would this be a prayer for the god of murder? We interrupted whatever you'd call this, and this time didn't let the murderer escape. After killing him, we looted his body and took the bag of literal hands and a password written on a note he had. We used the bag of hands as a form of proof that we had killed people, and then used the password we found on the paper to get past the guards that led us to a guy named Saravok. Turns out, Saravok is Orin's grandpa, and as of the time of writing this, I've also learned he's also Orin's dad. So Orin's from Alabama. Got it. Quickly moving past his love life, we managed to convince him to let us become an unholy assassin of Baal. Unholy assassins are, as far as I'm aware, essentially Baal's version of Dark Justiciars. Because we became an unholy assassin, we also got another achievement.
Oh, there we go. Murder in Baldur's Gate. Coat the streets of Baldur's Gate in blood. Become an unholy assassin for Baal.
After becoming an unholy assassin, I wanted to take a quick long rest to prepare for what we're about to do next, when our beauty sleep was rudely interrupted by some vampires looking for Astarion.
The Master needs all 7 of us for the ceremony. Come with us and be reborn.
How did you find us?
Master Cazador has known where Astarion was this entire time. He knew he would return. The Master needs him. He must attend.
What a lovely invitation. But I'm afraid I'll have to decline.
This is our only chance to be free, to end centuries of slavery. You will not ruin it, Astarion.
Since Astarion wasn't going to go with them peacefully, they wanted to try to take him by force. This fight was extremely easy, but just for the sake of context, this is all Astarion contributed to the fight. Then after the fight, this happened.
There we go.
This needs to end one way or another.
You stupid fuck. Oh my god. I fell on it again. This stupid ass grease pile will be sticking with us for the rest of the game because it's right next to Withers. I don't know if he can die, and I'm not trying to risk it. Now that's out of the way, it's time for us to take on Orin. Orin's fight is not nearly as scary as Ketheric and Merkel's because for this fight, we don't have to have all 4 party members here. So if we get wiped, we can all just get revived back at camp. However, Orin's fight is really fucking annoying, especially in honor mode. For starters, she gets this effect called Unstoppable, which reduces all damage she would receive to just 1, and then the effect gets removed. She gets 12 stacks of this shit. So she reduces all damage to 1 for 12 different attacks. And to make it even more annoying, this shit refreshes each round. So if in one round you manage to take down all of her unstoppable attacks, at the start of the next round, she'll gain all 12 back. But wait, there's more. If you thought that alone was annoying enough, just wait till you hear what else she can do. She can also apply an effect to us each turn if she wants to that requires us to kill something. Doesn't matter what, just as long as we kill something before the end of our next turn. If we don't kill something by then, the character with that effect on them instantly dies. It's exactly as annoying as it sounds. So the best strategy is to kill her in one turn before she can refresh the unstoppable effect.
Better not fucking knock me off.
No! No! She made me fearful, damn it!
Don't do it to me again. Don't push me off. Give me a turn. Give me a turn. Please give me a turn. Stop fucking hitting me.
I'm still feared.
Absolutely horrible start. I need to live. You done? Stop. Stop. Holy fuck. That was insanely fucking close. I need to do something that's going to give me multiple attacks. Okay, what kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah, so I was getting my ass kicked. But I had the idea of, what if I used barrels for this fight? They haven't failed me yet. If I use a minimum of 12 barrels, then blow them up, that should get rid of all 12 charges. And if I use more than 12, then I should do damage to her actual health too, right? So I decided to go overboard on surrounding her with barrels to hopefully get rid of all of the unstoppable attacks and potentially one-shot her.
This ain't enough to kill her. I don't know what is, dude. It's not enough to kill her. It'll be enough to get her really low. Okay, let's scoot back to like here. It's okay. And now I'm fucking immobile. Are you serious? Gil's gonna have to sacrifice himself. Fuck it. Here we go.
That barely fucking hurt her. Are you dead ass? That barely did anything. What? So that shit didn't work and I ended up losing the fight. So I've got to come in with a new plan because this shit ain't working, Chief. On my next attempt, I had everyone go invisible, made Gale cast a level 4 magic missile twice, which is supposed to take out all 12 stacks of unstoppable because each cast of it does 6 attacks. But somehow, Orin still had 1 stack of unstoppable afterwards. Then I had Shadowheart knock this bitch to the ground, which also got rid of her final unstoppable charge. Then as my character, I hit her with the strongest attacks I could do. Then as Shadowheart, I managed to get Orin down to about 50 health, but there was no chance I was going to be able to finish her off, so I decided to resort back to the trusty barrels to finish her off. Kill her. Oh my god, she has 14 health still?
Oh, wait, she can kill her. She might be able to kill her. How the hell did that shit not kill her? Thankfully, she only has 14 health left, even though she should have 0, and Shadowheart could still do one more attack. Luckily for us, Shadowheart has an attack that can do at minimum 14 damage. If this doesn't miss, she can kill her.
It shall be done.
It didn't kill her. Why didn't it do 14? Okay, I still have no idea why the hell she didn't do at least 14 damage. But Orin's now down to 6 health, and she's about to get her unstoppable stacks refreshed. However, since she's at 6 health, we just need to hit her 6 times, then she'll finally go down. I killed her! Oh, thank fucking God. With Orin's annoying ass out of the way finally, we head back to Gortash to let him know of our success. We then go to the Elder Brain with Gortash to take control of it together. However, that doesn't exactly go to plan. The Elder Brain has kinda broken free of the spell it was under when it was serving Ketheric, Orin, and Gortash, and is now able to make its own decisions. While trying to regain control of the Elder Brain, it ended up just commanding Gortash to die. Shortly after commanding Gortash to die, it was about to do the same to us, until the Emperor saved us by pulling us into the Astral Prism for protection. Once inside the Astral Prism, the Emperor realizes the only way we'll be able to defeat the Elder Brain is if he consumes Orpheus's mind. So we let the Emperor eat Orpheus's brain, then leave the Astral Prism to face the Elder Brain once and for all. From here, we have to make it past a shit ton of enemies in order to make it to where the Elder Brain is. There's Mind Flayers, demons, normal absolute followers like goblins, and even a damn spectator, but we're going to be avoiding all of them. With Gale loaded up on invisibility potions, we just send him right past everyone while he's invisible and walk straight up to the brainstem. Once Gale reaches the brainstem, it teleports everyone in the party to him, making all of them skip past every enemy as well. Now is Gale's big moment. The reason I've been saying Gale is super important to this run. It's now time for Gale to sacrifice himself using the orb in his chest to destroy the Elder Brain instantly. If we were to go up there, we'd find ourselves fighting multiple Mind Flayers and a dragon, which could all very easily result in us getting wiped. But if we allow Gale to sacrifice himself, we skip past all of that. With Gale making the ultimate sacrifice, he manages to destroy the Elder Brain and brings our honor mode run to an end. After some ending cutscenes of the city celebrating their victory, we then entered the epilogue. During the epilogue, you can catch up with all of your companions since you've all parted ways after destroying the Elder Brain. It's kind of like a reunion, just a bunch of closure on everyone's stories to wrap things up nicely. Then after Wither's final speech, we're left with this. Let's go! Oh my god. Honor mode is finally over. Oh, that was the most stressful thing I've ever fucking done in a game. Oh, it feels so good to be done with it too. Oh, okay, now we just got one final run left to do as Dark Urge, and the 100% is ours. Hell yeah, let's get this shit knocked out, man. Game's fucking awesome. But before doing our final run, I thought now would be a great time to do some cleanup on some other achievements I can easily grab using the save files I have from the first playthrough I did. So let's quickly knock some of those out. First up, since I reached the max level on this playthrough, I could take the chance to multi-class into every possible class. This is only possible if you're max level, and on our final run, we won't end up being max level because we'll be skipping a lot of side content. So I got a hireling from Withers and then leveled them from level 1 to level 12 and multi-classed them into every possible class. There we go. Jack of all trades, multi-class into every class in one playthrough without asking Withers to change your class or whatever the hell it says. Next up, we have to earn 100 gold from performing music. This one's pretty self-explanatory, just takes a bit of time. The easiest place to do this is in Act 3 because there's just so many NPCs around. Oh, got it. There we go. Earn 100 gold from playing sweet, sweet music in a single playthrough. Now we have to do a long rest using only alcohol. There we go. Bottoms up, long rest using only alcohol. Time-honored dwarven tradition. Then we have to defeat 20 opponents while drunk. For this one, I just ran around the city in Act 3 beating up anyone I saw while I was drunk. There we go. Punch drunk, defeat 20 enemies while drunk. Man, that was not tracking right at all. Next, we have to get an alternate ending. So after loading up a save I had towards the end of the final boss fight, we had to choose to take control of the Elder Brain rather than destroying it. Absolute power corrupts. Reign with terror, take control of the Nether Brain, and bend the world to whatever the hell the rest of it says. And the last achievement we went for in this little cleanup segment was for turning into a Mind Flayer. This one requires you to defeat the final boss as a Mind Flayer, so I had to replay the last like 2 hours of the game again for this one. Ceramorphosis. Make the ultimate sacrifice, become a Mind Flayer to defeat the Nether Brain. There we go. With all of that cleanup out of the way, it's now time for us to start our final run, but this time with a Dark Urge character. Dark Urge is basically a special trait your character gets where they'll get, well, a Dark Urge. It's usually in the form of killing someone. You can try to resist your urge or just give into it every every chance you get. Now for this run, I won't be taking you guys with me throughout the entire story of the game again, because apart from a few things here and there, mostly everything will be very similar. I'll only be bringing you guys along for the moments that apply to the achievements I'm actively getting. The hardest achievement we have left is No One Left Behind, which is for saving all the tieflings throughout the game. This one is easily missable, and we won't know if we got it until after we roll credits at the very end of the game. So most of our focus will be on this achievement for Act 1 as well, with a couple other achievements we can knock out in the process. So we rush to the Druid Grove because that's where majority of the tieflings are in this act, save this one from the Bugbear Assassin, convince Roland to stay in the camp because if he leaves he ends up getting killed. Then while we're here we freed Saza again and told her we'd meet her in the Goblin camp because we need to save her multiple times up until Act 2 for the achievement She Cannot Be Caged. Back in the Druid Grove we saved Arabella from Kaga again, then saved this kid from the Harpies. We then pushed onwards towards the Goblin camp, met with Saza who then takes us to meet Minthara. Now in the last run we just focused on killing Minthara as fast as possible, but she's actually a recruitable companion and is actually the only companion I haven't recruited so far. So in order to save Saza and recruit Minthara, I knocked them both out and then cleared the entire Goblin camp. After clearing the Goblin camp we returned to the Druid Grove, then when they wanted to party I knocked out Alfira, then long rested. The reason I knocked out Alfira is because if you're playing as Dark Urge, she eventually shows up to your camp asking to join the group, only for you to have an uncontrollable Dark Urge and kill her in your sleep, causing you to fail the achievement for saving all the tieflings. If she's knocked out, she never shows up to camp and some random ass person shows up in her place and they die instead. After a long rest, I then went around killing all the enemies we killed in our first run. I won't go over it all again because it was literally the exact same thing as last time, just easier because I'm doing this run on the easiest difficulty. Shut up, don't judge me. You literally just watched me do an honor mode run. I want this video to come out at some point, bruh. After clearing out all the enemies, we then push on towards the mountain pass where the Githyanki Crush is. Again, I'm not going to go over everything we did here. It was literally the exact same as last time, except the only difference is I didn't sneak out of here. I slaughtered everyone. Here in the Crush, there's a hidden room that I honestly had no idea was ever here. The fact that I'm over 300 hours deep into this game and still finding secrets is absolutely insane, and is part of what makes it one of my favorite games of all time. Here in this room, we end up finding a weapon called the Blood of Lathander. After taking this weapon for ourselves, we get our first achievement of this run. There we go, taking blood. Steal the blood of Lathander from underneath the Rossimorn Monastery. Now that's out of the way, we're done with Act 1 and ready to push on to Act 2. Similar to Act 1, a lot of what we'll be doing in Act 2 will be the exact same, with a few changes. Once we reach Last Light Inn again, when we're told to speak with Isabel, the person keeping this big ass light dome over the area, this time we do want to talk to her. In honor mode, we never went to talk to her because when you do, the inn gets ambushed. Here we need to protect Isabel and every tiefling that's here. If anyone dies, it could lock us out of the achievement for saving all the tieflings, so we want everyone to stay alive. And thanks to me being such a pro gamer and being used to honor mode difficulty at this point, this was pretty easy. It was nerve-wracking for sure, but we managed to pull it off. After protecting Last Light Inn, we then head to Moonrise Towers, save Roland's dumbass from some shadow monsters, then head inside Moonrise where we're eventually tasked with deciding the goblin's fate again. Saza is involved in this and our decision also applies to her, so unlike in honor mode, we chose to let them run free, giving us another achievement. She Cannot Be Caged. Rescue Saza from the Emerald Grove, Goblin Camp, and Moonrise Towers. After letting the goblins go, we then head down to the prison where Minthara was taken. We then managed to convince the guards that Minthara is now under our control, and in return, we managed to help her escape. Now that Minthara is free, she's now a companion of ours, and shortly she'll be taking Lae'zel's place. She has absolutely no importance to any achievements, I just wanted to see what it was like to have her as a companion. Back in the prison, it's time for us to try to break all the prisoners free without any of them dying again. Remember in honor mode how this went horribly wrong? Yeah, on this run, there was absolutely no issue getting them to escape. Seriously, I have no idea what the hell happened in honor mode, but this was stupid easy this time. Because we freed all the prisoners, we also got another achievement. Under lock and key, rescue all the prisoners from the depths of Moonrise Towers in one playthrough. After saving all the prisoners, we come across Arabella out in the middle of nowhere looking for her parents. We end up finding them for her, only for them to have been killed by one of Malice Thorm's nurses. We break the bad news to Arabella back at camp, and she's now permanently safe from dying for the rest of the run, so that's one less tiefling I have to worry about. We then go back to Malice Thorm and get revenge for Arabella, and manage to kill him before he can use a special attack of his, giving us another achievement. Non-invasive procedure. Kill the surgeon before he performs surgery on you in combat. From here, everything is exactly the same to what we did in honor mode, except for when we get to the option of killing the Night Song. On this run, we don't want Shadowheart to kill the Night Song because if she does, everyone in Last Light Inn dies, including tieflings. So instead of killing the Night Song, we freed her, and she joins us in our fight against Ketheric, Thorm, and Merkel. Skipping ahead a bit further, again, because all of this was the exact same, we now find ourselves back in the Illithid colony under Moonrise. In honor mode, we just went straight for the boss fight. On this run, we need to free some some people being held captive because one of them is Zevlor, one of the tieflings. While freeing him, we get jumped by some walking brains and a few mind flayers, but we made quick and easy work of them. With Zevlor now safe, we push on to fight Merkel. Remember how I was so stressed for this fight in honor mode? On this difficulty, I killed him so fast, he never even got a turn. So it's safe to say this fight didn't last long, and with Merkel dead, it's now time for us to push on towards Act 3. Here in Act 3 is where the majority of the differences of the two runs will show. However, there is still a lot of stuff that is the exact same, so skipping ahead to where we meet Gortash for the first time, we actually want to kill him ourselves for this run. However, before killing him, I want to make a save because I'll be rolling the save back after what we're about to do. We need to kill Gortash without setting off any of his traps. Gortash's entire boss fight is based around him being surrounded by a shit ton of traps. So in order to avoid setting any of his traps off, we sneak our way into a room behind where he is, hit him with a magic missile spell, then lure him away from where all of his traps are. Once he's away from the traps, we just smack him up until he dies. Now my game was bugging bad when I was going for this achievement, and Minthara just couldn't enter combat. She could attack anyone she wanted and actually do damage to them, but would never enter combat. So I took advantage of this bug and just slowly chipped away at Gortash until he eventually died, granting us the achievement. There we go, fancy footwork. Defeat Gortash and Worm's Rock without activating any traps. Okay, that was... The fact that that bug was working like that didn't make any sense. For those of you who say that's cheating, how about this? Kiss my entire ass. I would have killed him whether Minthara was bugged or not, and the reason why I saved before this is because I want to roll the save back to before I killed him. Keeping Gortash alive and making an alliance with him just makes the rest of the game easier, so either way, this progress wasn't going to be saved and was literally only done for the sake of this one achievement. If you believe this is cheating and invalidates the achievement, or even the 100% as a whole, go outside and touch some grass, man. The game screwed me over several times with bugs. I'm allowed to take this one moment and use it to my advantage. After rolling back the save and making an alliance with Gortash, we then enter a secret room where we're faced with several trials. After completing these trials, we then discover this is the hidden area where Answer the dragon rests. We find out through Answer that the Emperor is also Baldur, the person who created the city of Baldur's Gate. Answer was killed by the Emperor long ago, and Answer wanted to get his get back. Now, Answer has a move where he'll fly up into the air and start charging up. On his next turn, he unleashes a massive lightning attack that usually just one-shots literally everything. We want to kill him while he's in the air charging up. There we go. In the worm way, wait until the dragon is mid-flight, then knock it out of the sky. After killing Answer for a second time and taking a long rest, we now get the chance to romance the Emperor, which we do, giving us another achievement. Take its tentacle in your hand and invite it in. Give me this. Grab your tentacles while I give you back shots. Mind blown, romance the Emperor. This is so weird. After suckling on some tentacles, it's time for us to skip forward quite a bit to where we're back with Saravok. We want to become an unholy assassin for Bal again, but since we're playing as Dark Urge, we actually get some backstory on ourselves. We find out that we used to be Bal's chosen until Orin sabotaged us and took our place. Saravok grants us his blessing to kill his daughter/granddaughter and retake our place as Bal's chosen. After becoming an unholy assassin, we push on to face Orin and agree to a duel where the winner becomes Bal's chosen. Since we dueled, Orin doesn't get her stupid ass unstoppable ability that makes her only take 1 damage for 12 attacks, and we taught her a lesson about stealing shit from us. After defeating Orin, Bal speaks to us directly and asks us to be their chosen, granting us the ability to use the Slayer form, which is the disgusting monster Orin becomes. We accept this offer, and in return, not only do we get the Slayer form, but also another achievement. Embrace your urge, become Bal's ultimate weapon, become his slayer. Now that we're Bal's chosen, we're ready to go face the Elder Brain. For this run, we don't want Gel to explode the brain. Instead, we want to work our way all the way to the top, killing anything and everything that stands in our way. Eventually, the Elder Brain begs for mercy and suggests for us to not kill it, and instead control it ourselves, which we do want to control the brain as Bal's chosen, granting us the most evil ending this game has to offer. That's a nasty throne. But it's my throne. Does this still count for the Tiefling quest? I feel like it wouldn't make sense if it did, but from what I saw, it does.
You shall soon amass an illithid army to bring slaughter across Faerun. But now, it is time to unleash Bal's adoration upon his beloved city. You are half an illithid, half a god. Below, the gawking onlookers line up to die. But there is one who deserves the honor of your first death, the beginning of your end.
My magnificent love. Do you see now what you are capable of? Such terrible beauty. Such beautiful devastation.
Kill with one last kiss. Suck on that lizard tongue. Also suck on this.
No. We were meant to do this together.
Nah, I work alone. Who's next? Oh damn, do I just command them to die? Am I gonna command them to just walk off the edge? That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Do a flip on your way down. Jesus.
Time for the final act. Your tragedy has become mankind's.
Sup, bitches? Oh, am I summoning Ball? Or is that just a power I have now? You can't outrun the blades that come from inside of your body. It's killing mind flayers too.
As you think upon the resplendent deaths to come, Father sends a premonition of your red radiant destiny.
Oh my god.
At the end, the last creature living.
That shit goes hard.
Felled by your hand, alone amidst their gall at the close of eternity. Then, and only then, Father will be proud.
I'm curious what Withers has to say. Oh, send to the Father, claim your throne of blood, and leave no one behind. There we go. So that's the 100%. I didn't even have to get to the epilogue. I guess there is no epilogue because, I mean, do the credits roll before the epilogue or after the epilogue? Because I was about to say, I wonder if Withers has something different to say since technically Ball won. Wow, that was awesome. That's the 100% for Baldur's Gate 3. Awesome, man. That was so much fun. Let's see. Is there an epilogue still? I'm curious. It makes sense if there's not at the same time because everyone's dead. I want to catch up. Okay, yeah, there's no epilogue. That's Baldur's Gate 3, man. That's wow. This has been a long time coming. I've been working on this since the very start of September. It's now December 31st as of me finishing this right now. It feels so good to be done, but I'm so ready for what we got next. With the Dark Urge run over and the final 2 achievements popping, we've now reached the end of our journey. After 333 hours, Baldur's Gate 3 has finally been added to my collection of 100%ed games. Before we close out this video, I just want to say a quick thank you for watching, and since this is my first time making an achievement hunting video, I'd like for you all to give me any feedback on how I can make these videos better in the future. Also, if you haven't already and have denied Scratch's pets from earlier, don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. It greatly helps the channel and gives me some form of gratification after pouring over 4 months of my life into this one video. Another thing, I recommend subscribing so that way you never miss any future videos, whether they be funny moments related or achievement hunting, or if you're here for both. Thank you to all of my channel members for all the support you show me. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, you can click the little join button that's usually right next to the subscribe button, or just click the link in the description. Let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see me try to 100% next, and while you wait to see your recommendations be conquered, consider watching these videos in the meantime.